Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. Chapter 151. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The old man with a sword looked at the empty battlefield, and he was slightly relieved. Although that guy's strength is very strong, even Marine Admiral is not necessarily his opponent, but compared with himself, it is not a star and a half. He lives by himself. For 800 years, he has never seen anything in the world, and his combat experience is extremely rich. How can he be more than a hairy boy? Where is Colonel Ron? Why did people suddenly disappear? Just as everyone relaxed their vigilance, there was a sudden shout of surprise from the crowd. What's the matter? The old man with long beards had sharper eyes, and soon noticed that there was some disturbance in Marine. My lord, the soldier below reported that Colonel Ron suddenly disappeared mysteriously during the previous battle. Disappeared. For a while, the old man with long beards couldn't help but cast a shadow over his mind, and hurriedly asked in a cold voice, when did it disappear? It seems to be at the end of the battle. What? The old man with long beard took a breath, and a bad premonition swept through his body. Advertisement. No, that guy is not dead, he just swapped himself with Marine Colonel Ron with a special move. The old man with a sword shouted through gritted teeth. Hearing this, the old man with long beard shuddered instantly. Is there such an ability in the world to switch positions between himself and others? Because the idea is too bizarre, he is not sure whether his guess is correct or not. Marine, everyone is on the venue. Who are you? While people were frantically searching for Colonel Ron, a lieutenant suddenly found a guy in rags sitting not far from Colonel Ron's disappearance. Wait, that costume, black robe and red cloud. Wow. The crowd seemed to explode, and the Marines couldn't believe their eyes. How could this be possible? Isn't that guy dead? I watched it turned into powder. What's the noise? It's so noisy. Hidan raised his eyebrows, and his eyes exuded a brutal murderous aura. Really? It was really too big just now. If you used the body replacement technique earlier, you won't be so embarrassed. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Thinking of this, Hidan feels annoyed. This is one of his few clothes. If it breaks, he still has to buy it. Hey, there is no money in his pocket. It would be fine if the angle is by his side. The miser must have a lot in his hands. Maybe I can deceive a part of it by saying something nice. Lieutenant Marine picked up his head in horror and screamed loudly. Come on, that mysterious guy is not dead, he is still alive, right here. Hidan stood up abruptly, waved the bloody March sickle with one hand, and cut off the head of Lieutenant Marine in one stroke. I told you a long time ago. It's too noisy. I hate people who talk more than me. It's annoying, even though I am also annoying. However, at this time, the Marines had surrounded them, but no one dared to rush forward. After all, how could the guy who can equal 5 elders be solved by himself? Advertisement. However, Hidan was very upset at the feeling of being watched. He waved his bloody March sickle and shouted, a group of young men are getting in the way here. It's really annoying. Let me see Lord Cthulhu. After that, a scarlet slash rushed towards the Marines. With a brushing sound, everyone saw that their body was leaning towards the ground before they could react. They were still wondering how they suddenly became like this when they were obviously good, but then the question was answered, hundreds of meters. His space was cleared by Hidan's slash, and the surrounding Marine was cut in half by the sharp blade. The blood dripping from the fallen corpse soaked the soft ground and slowly merged into a river of blood. The power of a blow is as terrifying as it is. Old man, the battle between us is not over yet, don't look like a winner, it's disgusting to look at. Hidan shook the bloodline on the bloody March sickle. The attack just now was indeed stained with a lot of dirt. Asshole, you fellow. When the old man with a sword saw the dead Marine, his eyes suddenly turned red. Cut. I really thought I was dead. I tell you, Lord Cthulhu will not let me hang up like this easily. The moves you just performed are really powerful, and I was panicked when I saw it, but this kind of it's a terrifying move, only a fool will follow it. Hidan has been stimulating the old man with a sword with words. Obviously he is praising the old man for his greatness, but in fact he is flattering himself. Tisk tusk tusk. That fellow is so pitiful, he was killed by your own people, and you can't even find a whole body. Hey, please allow me to observe 3 seconds in silence. Hidan said triumphantly. Okay, 3 the second is over, and I'm going to attack next. Old man, you can be optimistic. What I just said is very clear. You have to be forgiving and forgiving. Since you are so cruel, don't blame me for being impolite. After speaking, a cloud of gray smoke rose up where Hidan was. When the smoke cleared, his figure would not know where he was going. Just when the late old man opened his eyes to look for the mysterious guy carefully, a muffled noise suddenly rang out from the soles of his feet. Earth style. Beheading technique in the heart. What? Advertisement. The old man with the sword reacted before he came, and saw 2 arms protruding from the ground under his feet, pulling his legs and pulling them down. Unprepared, the old man with the sword was pulled down half of his body by this strange trick, but he quickly reacted, and the demon sword in his hand plunged into the soft ground without hesitation. ... Ghost shock. The old man with the sword yelled violently. The demon sword in his hand vibrated at a very high frequency, and the surrounding earth seemed to respond, and it also shook with it. In a blink of an eye, the demon sword was the center, and the earth appeared as a spider. The dense network was torn apart. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the old man with the sword jumped out of the ground quickly, but still scratched a little bit of skin on his thigh. Little devil, is this your way of attacking? I have to say it surprised me. The old man with the sword looked sullen, and it was obvious that he was dull on his yin face just now. So many people in the audience saw that they were dragged into the ground. If it were passed out, what would the name of 5 elders look like? Hey! Hidan gave a wicked smile, and fresh blood was dripping from the dark spear in his hand. Old man, don't worry, the show has just begun. Hidan calmly put the black spear close to his mouth, stretched out his tongue, licked the blood on his head, and then pierced the palm of his hand with the spear to draw on the ground. What does it mean? Seeing a mysterious person harming himself, the 5 elders onlookers suddenly felt a bad feeling in their heart, but it couldn't be said faintly. In a blink of an eye, a circle was drawn with blood on the ground, and there was a triangle in it. As for Hidan, he stood at the center of the circle, grinning at the old man with a sword. The show has just begun, isn't it? Chapter 152. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Looking at the mysterious man's smile, the face of the old man with the sword couldn't help but look. Although he didn't know what this guy meant, he could vaguely feel a bad feeling in his heart. What kind of trick? Kill me. The old man with the sword shouted violently, and rushed over with the sword. Facing the aggressive posture of the old man with the sword, Hidan was quite arrogant, even throwing away the bloody March sickle in his hand, his eyes closed slightly, as if he was enjoying the warm sunshine after the war. It's weird. The old man with long beard has been observing the battle between the 2 people. Although he said that there have been back and forth, the mysterious man has always been at a disadvantage and was beaten by the old man with a sword, but this is suspected to be flowing clouds. The strange tricks of the guys are endless, and they can avoid murder every time. This time it is inevitable that there is something that people can't understand. Hearing the old man with long beard saying so, the old man with scars turned his face straight, and recalled the scene just now in his mind, and he was extremely angry. To be honest, fighting against this kind of person is the most disgusting. Although you know that person is not your opponent, but despite your own martial arts, you just can't fight people, and you have to say that it is disgusting. Little devil, take it to death, this time I'm going to see how you dodge it. The old man with a sword has a sharp look, he knows how this mysterious guy dodges his own enhanced version of the 3600 Shinigami dragons. Yu Feng, I also know very well in my heart that if I still use the long-range attack on this guy, maybe the same trick will happen again. Instead of that, you can just fight him with a sword or a gun. Maybe you can find this guy weakness. In fact, Hidan is also very clear in his heart that he seems to be a little bit too big. The 5 elders in this world are really too strong, but he has reached this point, how can he shrink according to his temper? Anyway, he is immortal. What's terrible, the great Cthulhu Lord is blessing himself. Advertisement. Puff. Yeah. With the sound of a sword piercing into the flesh, the muffled sound of someone being injured attracted people's attention. Your sword is so sharp. It makes me painful. I'm going to die. Who can save me? Hidan clutched the place where the demon sword stabbed in, with a nervous expression on his face. However, the old man with a sword was kneeling on the ground with his chest. If it hadn't been for the demon's sword in his hand, he might have been lying on the ground at this time. How is this possible? The old man with a sword glared, ignoring the blood flowing from the corner of his mouth, his eyes fixed on the mysterious man, and he was thinking about how this guy did it and why he was injured. No shot. What's the matter? Why are you kneeling on the ground? The old man with long beard was startled and couldn't help but said in surprise. It's not very clear. Did any of you just see that mysterious guy do it? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. 5 Elders was shocked by the strange tricks that someone had used in an endless stream. At this time, the old man with a sword was suddenly injured inexplicably. Could it be that the enemy used the strange trick again? Gia Gia Gia. Hidan suddenly laughed, and his palm loosened the position of the wound. It looks like I'm fine. Old man, what's wrong with you? Have a heart attack? Do you want me to call a doctor? Hidan pretended to care with his abnormally undue beating voice. Advertisement. How did you do it? The old man with the sword endured the pain and stood up swayingly. The blood in the wound had been stopped by unknown means, but even so, the old man with the sword looked on his face. Still pale. Obviously the power of the sword just now was too great. Oh, why should I tell you? How old are you? Only the great Cthulhu will know. Do you need me to send you to see the Cthulhu? Let him tell you. Hidan said mockingly. When I was a second fool, I couldn't make it. You ask me and I just say. Little devil, you are too arrogant. The old man with a sword secretly gritted his steel teeth, and now he still thinks that he was accidentally attacked, but this kid used mysterious means and he didn't notice it. You have to be arrogant, otherwise it is different from salted fish, even if salted fish is turned over. Balabala. Hidan seems to be in a mood, and he keeps talking, which makes people feel bored. Just rely on him. Smelly mouth. It is estimated that no one wants to fight with him. 36 Demon Swords Shocking Dragon. The old man with the sword shoved the distance from the mysterious man. The demon sword in his right hand slashed several times in the air. In a blink of an eye, a golden dragon appeared. He appeared in the air, as if burning with a raging flame. The dragon strikes. The old man with the sword yelled, and the demon sword in his hand pointed to Hidan's direction. The golden dragon is like a living creature. After hearing the instructions of the old man with the sword, he gave a long whistle and swished away from the string. The speed was so fast that only a golden flash was left. However, he was shocked by the momentum along the way. The chopping wave was a mess, and even the ground had crystallized, and a lot of glass appeared. A slash also carries elemental attacks, and the ability to crystallize the soil can only mean that the temperature is as high as thousands of degrees Celsius. Hey, old man, I have to say that your skills are really gorgeous, and they look all beautiful. You can make a lot of money when you show off the fireworks on the holidays. I'm fine. For the roaring dragon, Hidan didn't rush, and even had free time to talk and laugh with the old man with the sword. Regarding someone's unreliable advice, the old man with the sword almost spit out old blood. Watching the fireworks, I think you are paralyzed. Today I will show you how beautiful the fireworks are. Advertisement. The dragon opened his mouth, and the little Hidan couldn't even match his teeth in front of it. Wow! The mighty and fierce sword aura spewed out from the dragon's mouth, like raindrops, brushing continuously. The ground was cratered by this nearly saturated attack, as if it had been bombarded by a group of meteorites. The place where Hidan was filled with dust. Afterwards, the dragon seemed to have exhausted the sword energy in its belly, and turned into a fierce shock wave, bombarding Hidan. What? A scream came suddenly, and the demon sword in the hand of the old man with the sword fell to the ground in amazement. At the handle of the sword, there was an arm with fresh and flexible blood spurting wildly. Wait, how could the arm be on the ground? For a moment, people's eyes shifted to the old man with the sword who was screaming, shocked. I saw that the old man with a sword was clutching his broken arm and screaming horribly at this moment. That voice was truly tragic. What's going on? Scared, the old man said in horror. The five elders present were all masters of observation hockey, and they could perceive that the mysterious man just didn't even move. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 153. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Jia Jia Jia. Hedon's laughter emanated through the dust and mist in the sky. It was unusually ear-eared and made people tremble. It was a scheming smile that succeeded in conspiracy. Old man, does it feel good? I said it a long time ago. Don't go too far, or I will make you unable to eat. Do you feel the horror of Lord Cthulhu now? The dust gradually dissipated, and Hedon, who lacked an arm, was standing in the weird symbol and laughing wildly. What's going on? The old man with long beard was surprised. Why, this guy's arm was also broken. Could it be that? Suddenly, the scene of the mysterious disappearance of Colonel Ron just appeared in everyone's mind. Is it possible for this guy to transfer the opponent's attack to someone else? How can that be? The curly-haired old man whispered to himself. Where did this guy come from? Is it Lu Yun? Now the doubts in people's minds are even greater. Just now, I was a little convinced that he is not Lu Yun. After all, there is too much difference in strength, but now people's impressions have changed a bit. Advertisement. The show has just begun. Old man, are you ready? Although 12 is missing an arm, it has no effect on Hedon at all. He can't feel the pain at all, and all the pain is considered high by the self. The old guy took it. After speaking, Hedon once again drew the weird-looking dark spear from his arms, and slowly pointed it at his thigh, as if he was about to pierce it at any time. What is this guy doing? The bald-headed character, who was shocked in his heart, his beard trembled, and hurriedly said, "Hurry up and stop him. Stop him." The scar-faced old man was taken aback when he heard the words. Are you overstimulated by the guy Chin Luo? It is clear that this kid wants to self-harm. Why should we stop it? Isn't it better to watch a movie on the side? However, the bald-headed character who old man looked anxious and said angrily, you haven't seen it clearly yet. This guy can transfer the damage from someone else's attack on him to his opponent. Now he is preparing to self-mutilate. Who do you think will be hurt in the end? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Hearing the words of the bald-headed character who, the remaining 5 elders were suddenly shocked. After carefully recalling the scene just now, they seemed to say that they were inseparable. Jia Jia, the game has started, so let's start with the right thigh. Are you okay? Hedon laughed frantically, and his left hand holding the jet-black spear slammed upwards, followed by a chuckle. There was a strange sound, and the pitch-black spear came out through it. Ah! The old man with the sword, who had been kneeling on the ground, screamed again, and saw that his right leg seemed to be pierced by some sharp weapon. The gurgling blood was flowing. Looking at the abnormally crippled person, through the blood hole, it seemed that he was screaming. You can see the bones of Bai Sensen. Sure enough. The old man with scars' face was startled, and he looked at Hedon, who was laughing wildly in an incredible manner. He no longer hesitated in his heart, and several flashes came to Hedon's side. Advertisement. Asshole, stop quickly, do you want to die? The scarred old man shouted sharply. GG, Lord Cthulhu will not accept me, Lord Cthulhu prefers me to sacrifice fresh life to him. Hedon said with joy, and didn't care about the threat of Scarface. This time it's the left leg. Hedon turned to lift the dark spear in his hand again, and then slammed it in quickly. Ah! The old man with the sword couldn't hold on anymore. He took a halt and lay down on the ground. The bright red blood stained his whole body in a short while. Asshole, I want you to stop. The scarred old man saw that his words were ignored, and his heart was very annoyed. Finger pistol red lotus. I saw a weird red breath burst from the fingers of the old man with the scarred face, and a 9-petal lotus flower was formed in an instant, but this lotus was not the pure white of the noble and elegant that appeared from the silt, and it exudes awe-inspiring, like a lotus that grows from the depths of hell. It is said that the time is too fast, although the lotus is turning very slowly, but the speed when attacking is amazing, and it has bombarded Hidan's chest in the blink of an eye. Boom. This time, Hidan still did not make any resistance, letting his opponent attack him. Ah, is the scar on the head. Don't you know that his attack will be attached to the old man with the sword? For a moment, the old man with long beard standing not far away said angrily. Advertisement. Sure enough, although Hidan, who was at the center of the attack, was extremely embarrassed, his eyes were bright and his body was broken, but it seemed to have no effect on him. However, half of the body of the old man with a sword lying on the ground was directly affected. It blasted into pieces, and the remaining half of the body seemed to twitch a few times from time to time, and couldn't even make a scream, and could only scream, ho ho, into the ears, making people hairy. Seeing this scene, the old man Scar knew that he had been tricked by this kid. He originally wanted to prevent the mysterious man from continuing to harm himself, but he didn't expect that he was actually angered by this evil fellow. Yo ho ho ho, you are really ruthless, you just FK'd your companion half to death. In contrast, I am much gentler. Look, it's all this time. I just want him to have one arm and two. There are legs, but at least I guarantee that most parts of this guy's body are still there. Look at you, this rough guy, and you just blasted people 263.5 away. Although Hidan only has half of his body left, as for the rest, it was all turned into a pile of rotten meat, scattered around, but still excited, it seemed that this bit of damage was no different from scratching him. Have you heard Lord Cthulhu's call? At this moment, Hidan closed his eyes slightly, as if he was really listening. Ah, Lord Cthulhu, tell me, it's time. Did you hear it? What is the time? For a while, the old man with the scar face was a little embarrassed by the mysterious man's actions. Gia Gia, the game is over, dead old man, go to death for me, plunge into the arms of the great Cthulhu. At this moment, Hidan suddenly opened his eyes were crazy, and he raised the pitch black in his hands. The spear prodded towards the heart with a thunderous force. Puff! The pitch black spear came out through the body, and even brought out a trace of flesh and blood, which looked extremely terrifying. At the same time, the old man with a sword fell on the ground like a cat whose tail was stomped on. The half of his body was bowed sharply, and then he fell weakly, throwing up a cloud of dust. Ah, asshole, I'm going to kill you. The old man with scar finally understood what the call in this guy's mouth was, but it was too late. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Report. 20%. Chapter 154. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. 5 elders was defeated. How is this possible? That guy's body looks like that, and he can still talk and laugh. Is he a monster? Listening to the comments from the people in Marine, the face of the old man with long beards became very ugly. He didn't expect this evil spirit to kill one of the 5 elders. If they knew this kid was so powerful, they wouldn't. Twoda, but now it's too late to say anything. Looking at the old man with a sword who has become a pile of minced meat, everyone suddenly felt a sense of sorrow. Although a few people will not really die, everyone knows that death is not terrible. The terrible thing is waiting for death. The process of death, and the feeling when death comes, is the most tormenting. How is that guy? The bald old man's face was blue, and his heart burst into anger. At the same time, he was also fortunate. Fortunately, it wasn't him who rushed up just now. If he was himself, it would probably not take much advantage. The head of the body is different. Still alive and kicking. Dao Scar's face was angry. To some extent, he did kill the old man with the sword. After all, he shattered half of his body. Seeing the gloomy face of the old man Scar, everyone was silent, knowing that he was not in a good mood at this time. Go and take a look. The old man with long beard pondered for a while, trying to confirm whether Luyun was offending the Holy Land. 5 elders was also suffocated in his heart. Fighting can become such a virtue, and it is not a shame to lose it. This is still to win with more bullying and less. If this guy fights one-on-one, it is estimated that the 5 elders group will be wiped out. Within a few breaths, the 4 of them had already come to Hedon's side. Looking at the mysterious man who didn't have a good piece of meat on his body, they couldn't help taking a breath. Advertisement. What kind of monster is this guy? There is nothing wrong with such a serious injury, don't be kidding. What to see? Is it jealous that I am handsome? Hedon's mouth, with only half of his body left, kept talking, and didn't worry about his current situation at all. Boy, you are Luyun, right? The old man with long beard said with a certain tone. In fact, he didn't have a spectrum in his heart, but just wanted to deceive him. Luyun. Hedan was taken aback for a moment, and then laughed. Did you have water in your head? Oh, no, after all, you are old. To be precise, you should be dim-eyed and your brains are not working well. Quote. Hearing what Hedan said, the face of the old man with the scar face suddenly became very dark. For more than 800 years, no one really dared to talk to himself like this. Just because you still want to catch Master Luyun, don't dream of spring and autumn, just relying on you, Hedan, and I can turn you upside down. Hedan said frantically, and then frowned, as if to meet something unpleasant. Hey, that bald head, please give me a favor, you stepped on my arm, do you know it will hurt? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. When the bald head heard it, he was stunned, lowered his head and glanced, his heart suddenly tightened, and I saw that I had been severely scratching under my feet and was trying hard, as if to resist the fact that he was stepped on. Hiss. For a while, 5 elders were all shocked. What the hell was going on? You must know that this hand was clearly broken. The curly-haired old man turned his gaze to other parts of the mysterious man, and was shocked to find that he was also squirming, as if there was still life activity. What the hell is going on? Is it possible that this guy is really immune to death? Advertisement. Scarface yelled violently. The guy who pretends to be a ghost, I don't believe you can be so arrogant if you chop off your head. After speaking, the right hand was made into a sword, exuding a pale white light, and the brush slashed towards Hedon's neck. No. The old man with long beard was taken aback, trying to stop Scarface's move, but it was too late, and Hedon's head swooped to the side. How can you be so impulsive? We haven't questioned yet. The old man with long beard was a little frustrated, hating iron for nothing. Hearing the old man with long beard say this, the old man with Scarface also realized that he seemed to have done something wrong, but he still insisted. Isn't this guy already said? His name is Hedan. He is not a flow cloud at all. Curly Hair stood up at this time, sighed in a low voice, and said, although this guy is a lot worse than Luyun, but their clothes are exactly the same, and this guy seems to know Luyun well, if you catch him, you will surely be able to ask some clues. Isn't it a fool for you to be so random? The scarred old man's face blushed slightly, although deep in his heart he knew that he had done something wrong, but he still refused to admit it. Hey, let me say if you guys have finished arguing. Luo Li kept talking non-stop. I don't know if it's annoying. If I have this skill, can I take some time to pull my head out of this rock? I can't see anything here. Just when everyone was remorseful, Hedon's death voice came again. What? 5 elders turned their heads inconceivably, and found that the corpse without the head was still lying there, and from a crack in the stone not far away, the voice kept coming out. Advertisement. The most surprising thing was the old man's scar. He knew the most about the attack just now, but it was absolutely impossible to say that he hadn't cut that person's neck. Bump. A cry. Hedon's head was grabbed by the bald-headed old man who. At this moment, Hedon's eyes were fixed on the scared old man, and he said fiercely, I said you old boy, did you take the wrong medicine? Can you stop? It's very troublesome to connect it manually. You know, now that the angle is not around, I don't know who to call, and I don't know if Master Luyun can connect it for me. The head hanging in the air gives people a sense of horror no matter how you look at it, but the opening and closing of the mouth gives people a different kind of funny feeling. But 5 elders has obtained 2 important messages from this unknown source named Hedan. One is that Hedan and Luyun know each other, and the relationship should be good, and the other is a mysterious person named Angle, who seems to be able to Hedon's broken body, was connected. These two news are too important. For a while, 5 elders didn't know what to do with this guy. There is no doubt that there must be a huge organization behind Luyun, and the people inside are very strong, as can be seen from this person called Hedan. Because of this, 5 elders is even more unlikely to kill this intelligence source. Come on, saw this guy's body open for me, put them up for me separately, and then shut them down to impel down. The old man with long beard pondered for a while and then ordered. Hedan couldn't help swearing when he heard the words, but at this moment, no one cared about the words of the guy who didn't accumulate morals. Chapter 155. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In a port not far from the Holy Land Mary Geois, dozens of dilapidated warships slowly docked. Marshal, you are back. It was a major general with a sad expression, as if his parents were dead. What's the matter? Why is his face so ugly? Gang Gukong asked with concern, although his mood is not very good, but as a superior, he still has to ask for warmth. Marshal. The major general only uttered 2 words, and his voice became choked. He couldn't say anything anyway, but his almost desperate eyes looked at the holy place not far away. Following the gaze of the major general, Gang Gukong suddenly took a breath. I saw that the prosperous sacred place that was just built a few days ago has disappeared. Countless buildings have been turned into broken bricks at this moment, and a lot of gun smoke can be seen vaguely rising. Everything is everywhere. It shows that the Holy Land has suffered a devastating blow. What's going on? Gang Gukong firmly grasped the major general's arm. The blue veins on his hand collapsed, and he roared in cold voice. Marine choked and said sadly, not long ago, the bastard Qin Luo came over and fought 5 elders. Later that guy summoned 4 giant beasts. Having said this, the major general showed a trace of 077 on his face, apparently leaving a shadow on the unknown behemoth. What? The guy Qin Luo came here, how could this be possible? Gang Gukong shouted loudly. After all, his party had just fought the bastard fiercely, although the result was very bad. Advertisement. Later. Gang Gukong asked anxiously, his eyes gloomy. Later. The 4 behemoths were madly destroyed, and Master 5 Elders went to stop them, but the 4 behemoths were really terrifying, and Master 5 Elders was beaten so that he couldn't handle it at all. The Major General was a little cowardly. Said, after all, this kind of thing is not very glorious, saying it will affect the authority of the world government. Are you sure it is Qin Luo? Gang Gukong was a little skeptical. After all, when he was fighting with Qin Luo just now, he was quite far away from the Holy Land. Even if he used moonwalk continuously to come over, it would cost a lot of money. It's hard work, and basically there is no fighting power when it comes to the Holy Land, so how could Qin Luo rush over so easily? Marshal, where is there a fake? So many people are staring at it. The Major General suddenly raised his voice by a few points. He really couldn't beat Qin Luo and the 4 weird behemoths, but this it does not mean that I am blind. Seeing the determined eyes of the Major General and the surrounding Marines, the steel bones were utterly shocked. In the end, his face clenched his fists and finally loosened them weakly. The whole person was extremely decadent, and it seemed that Qin Luo could only accept the fact that Qin Luo destroyed the Holy Land. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. But how did that guy rush over? Also, how could he still be so strong after driving such a long distance? This is the problem that Gang Gukong cares about. And many more. Gang Gukong stunned suddenly, and suddenly remembered that the mysterious guy Qin Luo has some special abilities. If he remembers correctly, it seems that this damn guy has the ability to melt water. If you think so, everything can be explained. After the guy Qin Luo finished fighting with himself, he directly used the melting ability to come to the Holy Land, and then fought with 5 elders again, and then summoned that he had never met. But the 4 behemoths that sounded so powerful eventually destroyed the Holy Land in a mess. Damn it. Steel bones and steel teeth bite secretly, wishing to cramp that damn kid Qin Luo. Advertisement. Now that he had figured everything out, Gang Gukong wanted to go to 5 elders to report on the battle right away, and at the same time submit the information gathered in his own hands. Galloping all the way, the destination is devastated. It is no exaggeration to say that there is no complete building at all. In fact, let alone a building, there is not even a complete brick, everything is turned into dust. If people don't understand, they think this is a desert. After all, there is no life here, and it looks like a gray area from a distance. Grown-ups. Gangu Kong strode into a temporary meeting room, and humbly asked hello after seeing 5 elders. Oh, it's empty, you are back. The old man with long beard looked a little ugly, and his expression was a little sluggish. I don't know if it was caused by the destruction of the Holy Land. At this time, Gang Gukong raised his head to observe the 5 elders he was working on. Suddenly, his figure was startled, and he said in surprise, "My lord, it turns out that you were not taken away by the guy Qin Luo." At that time, Qin Luo still scolded me. If you speak big words, let me just say. How is this possible? How can Qin Luo be an opponent with such a strong adult? Now it seems that the kid Qin Luo wants to lie to me and disrupt my fighting rhythm. Seeing the 8 character who bald head, Gang Bone Kong couldn't help but sighed and laughed. Fortunately, he didn't believe it at the time. It seems that Master 5 Elders is still great. However, what Gangu Kong didn't notice was that the bald-headed Bazihu's face became very ugly, as if he could shave off a layer of ashes from the bottom of the pot, and the faces of the remaining 5 elders also became strange. How's the battle going? Hearing the question from 5 elders, Gangu Kong's face flushed suddenly, his face frustrated and helpless. How could he be able to tell the record, and he was too irritable to say it. Advertisement. 5 elders saw that the steel bone was empty for a long time without speaking, and they understood what was going on. HMPH, it's all a bunch of trash. The old man with Scarface shook his face and snorted coldly. The face of the old man with long beards was not very good. He pressed hard, and asked in a commanding tone, "What's the specific situation?" Gangu Kong's expression became stiff, and he hesitated for a long time before he said, "The situation in the battle is very bad, and the losses are heavy." After speaking, Gang Ji Kong handed in the report form in his hand. The bald-headed old man who took it and glanced at it roughly. "Asshole, how can there be so many casualties? What do you guys do for food?" What Gangu Kong said just now really made the bald-headed Bazihu a little unable to come to Taiwan. So he seized the opportunity and thought in his heart that he must be good looking for this guy who doesn't know what he says. Gangu Kong heard 5 elders' violent drink, and his heart slammed twice. Isn't there a lot of admiral? I remember there are many lieutenant generals, the school-level marine is even more numerous, and there are even 30,000 seamen, so you can get back this result for me. At this time, the old man with long beard also saw it. After receiving the report form, holding back his anger, he said coldly. Although the tone was not very strong, Gangu Kong could feel the murderous aura hidden in the plain tone. Chapter 156. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Gangu Kong said in a panic. "My lord, we can't do anything about it. The guy Qin Luo actually has the ability to summon sea kings. At that time, our warship was scorched by foreigners, and most of the seamen died in the hands of the beasts. In addition, that guy can even set off a tsunami, one after another with huge waves hundreds of meters high, simply can't handle it." Hearing the scene described by Gangu Kong, the 5 elders they were doing couldn't help taking a breath. Of course, except for the bald-headed character who, after all, he was the one who witnessed everything. "Are you sure you didn't just make up to fool us to avoid punishment?" The curly-haired old man sneered. What kind of virtue marine is? He knew very well in his heart, he was full of justice on the face, and he didn't say anything about the situation secretly, he could only say that he was better than a pirate. "It's not strong enough." Hearing the words, I couldn't help feeling angry, and my voice could not help raising a few points. "My lord, so many people have survived. If you don't believe me, you can just pull out someone to ask. I am standing here." I dared to pat my chest and said, "What I said just now is all facts, not a single word is false." Curly Hair sneered at the appearance of the steel bones vowing to nothing, and secretly pretended to behave. Just when the scene was embarrassing for a while, the 8th character who shaved his head and said, "Everyone, I can testify that what Kong said just now is the truth." Although he hated the guy Gangukong to death in his heart, but the bald-headed Bazi who also knew very well in his heart that now is not a good time to resolve personal grievances, and he can't be arrogant, otherwise there will be no good results for others. Everyone knew that the bald Bazi who was captured by Qin Luo, and they must also know some secrets, so they all agreed with what he said. "How is this possible?" the old man with Scarface exclaimed in surprise. "They all know that Qin Luo is not a demon fruit power, but how can he exert such a powerful natural power?" Okay, things are over. No matter how much it is said, it doesn't make any sense. At this time, it's better to calm down and think about how to do it in the future. The old man with long beard sighed slightly and stroked it. Forehead. Apparently recent events have made him a little bit on his head. Advertisement. Soon. Think about it now. If it is really the guy Qin Luo, maybe he can really control Sea Kings. Scarface said with a muffled voice. "Oh, why do you see it?" said the bald-headed who raised his eyebrows. "Know that he can summon the existence of 4 behemoths with his hand. It is nothing to control some Sea Kings. What's more, at that time, the 4 of us took a lot of effort to fight him, and we couldn't take advantage of it at all. Then, you can imagine how terrifying this guy's strength is." The old man with the scar face stared at him, his palm slapped the desk hard and gritted his teeth. Hearing the analysis of the old man, all the people present fell silent. Yes, that guy's strength is so terrifying. Isn't it easy to control some Sea Kings? For a while, the small conference room fell into dead silence, seeming to be meditating on something. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. However, the momentary silence was interrupted by Gangukong. "My lord, did the bastard Qin Luo really come to the Holy Land?" Although Steel Hollow had an answer of 8 or 9 inseparable from 10, he still wanted to get more accurate information from 5 elders. Could it be that Qin Luo's strength is really so strong that several adults have not been able to capture him? Gangukong asked with a little surprise. In his opinion, 5 elders can be said to be the most powerful existence in the world. A few people joined hands and it was enough to wipe out the ashes. However, from the conversations of several adults, Gangukong heard a shocking news, because the news was too sudden and too frightening, so that Gangukong was a little suspicious that there was a problem with his ears. 5 elders didn't answer the question of Gangukong, but was silent. "My lord, what about the guy Qin Luo? Is he already seriously injured and impelled down?" Advertisement. At this time, Gangukong still had a fluke, thinking that 5 elders had captured Qin Luo. "That guy has escaped," Scarface said muffledly. Gangukong didn't know that Scarface's old man used the word escape in his sentence. In fact, it was just to whitewash the strength of 5 elders. Apart from Gangukong, the real situation was clear in the hearts of the present, but at this time, no one would be stupid, portraying the situation at the time. "Damn it, that bastard just ran away like this. It ruined my holy ground and injured so many seamen. How could he let him escape so easily and get away with it?" Gangukong yelled. Because he was too excited, the muscles on his face they were all a little convulsed, they looked abnormally horrified, and they were obviously extremely angry. "My lord, give the order, this time I will definitely catch that damn bastard." The steel bones and hollow steel teeth were almost crushed, and the voice changed. Regarding Gangukong's request, several 5 elders secretly exchanged glances, but did not reply immediately. Grown-ups. 5 elders didn't answer, thinking that he didn't believe in his own strength. Just about to open his mouth to defend himself, he was interrupted by the old man with long beards. "Marshal Kong, now I order with the highest authority of the world government." Having said this, the old man with long beard paused slightly, seeming to wonder how to use the language. Gangukong heard that 5 elders spoke to himself in such a serious tone, and his heart suddenly became excited, thinking that his example had been effective. All marine personnel must not provoke Qin Luo. Advertisement. At the end, the voice of the old man with long beard suddenly rose a little bit, even with a slight threatening tone. It seemed to say that if anyone can't make it through this command, don't blame me for not being affectionate. This is a dead order. Everyone will execute it unconditionally. Then, the bald-headed old man who added, "What? This? How is this possible?" For a while, Gang Gukong's face changed in shock, with a shocked expression. Did you hear it wrong? This order was even more severe than the one I had previously issued. If this order is spread, what consequences will it cause? Don't this 5 elders know? At the thought of this, Gang Gukong's eyes began to congestion. My lord, think twice. Enough. The scarred old man's complexion sank, and he said coldly, Gang Bone Kong, if you don't want to be a marshal, don't be a marshal. You won't even execute 5 elders' orders. I think you are dead. Hearing the words of the old man with the scarred face, Gang Gukong's breathing suddenly stagnated, as if his whole body's strength had been taken away. At this moment, the old man with long beard came out to make a round and said, Marshal Kong, this is the end of the matter. You just need to follow the order strictly. Don't talk nonsense. In addition, quickly send someone to clean up this place. The Holy Land must be rebuilt within 5 days. After speaking, 5 elders stood up, glanced at the steel and opened the door and walked out. Chapter 157. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At the same time, the Fishman Island in the deep sea 10,000 meters below the sea surface, the business of beating the Tianlong people is booming, and it can be said that they are making money every day, because the high income has brought huge changes to the Fishman Island. Therefore, a happy smile filled the faces of everyone in the Fishman Island, and their worship of Luyun God was almost crazy. Fortunately, the god of flowing clouds protects the Fishman Island, otherwise I don't know what it will look like. A catfish murloc holding a long gun and talking to a squid murloc next to him, his mouth full of rejoicing. Haha. I need you to say, what did the Fishman Island look like before? What does it look like now? Can it be compared? The squid man said excitedly, because of some connections, he was sent to supervise the most popular island on the island. Business, although it is said to be supervision, but in fact, no one dares to make trouble here. After all, the logo of Luyun and the 3 rules are very conspicuous. If anyone dares to find it uncomfortable here, they are joking with their own fate. Hey, look, there are several ships coming over there. I don't know where the big pirates are from 12. Haha, I guess we have a big business again. The catfish murloc grinned, his teeth full of teeth were revealed. It was terrifying, but the people around didn't care at all. The biggest patrons who beat the Tianlong people are pirates of unknown origin or some business people, but all of them have been bullied by the Tianlong people. It is because of this that they are willing to spend a lot of money to clean up. The world's nobleman let out a nasty anger in his heart. Wait, why did I look at that pirate banner so familiar? The squid murloc was startled, and said in a panic, it seems to be Big Mom. Advertisement. Speaking of the end, the tone was a little trembling. It was obviously a fear from the heart. Hey, it turned out to be Big Mom, how could her ship come here? For a while, the soldiers of the Fishman Island who guarded the slaves of the dragon people panicked. For such a long time, it's not that the big pirates have never been to take care of the business, but the big pirates are much inferior to Big Mom. Gudong. Many people swallowed hard, and started to flutter in their hearts, thinking that those guys didn't come to the Fishman Island to make trouble. However, there will always be some accidents. After several ornately decorated pirate ships docked, a group of people rushed towards this side. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The leader is a young man with a rather funny dress. His face is painted with unknown oil paint, which looks very funny. He has high heels under his feet, kicking small steps, and his face is covered with triumph. The look is extremely arrogant. Yeah, is this the location of the Fishman Island's most famous business for beating the dragon people? Charlotte Nins said with a smirk. After seeing the Big Mom, many people from the pirates group all took a pause and gave up a large area for fear of annoying this guy. Advertisement. Hey, isn't that guy the son of Big Mom, Charlotte Nins? A pirate has seen a wider world and quickly recognizes who it is, but because of this, everyone around him he took a breath. It's the servant Nins. Many people exclaimed in shock. The servant Nins is very famous in New World, not because of how strong he is, but because of his cruel methods. None of the people who fought against him can survive, and all of them have their heads cut off. That's why. A title. Oh, Hoa, it seems that you are still quite capable of recognizing me. Charlotte Nins grinned and scanned the pirates around him. Seeing the visitor confess his identity, everyone present could not help but cast a shadow on the hearts of everyone present. The strength of this guy is not terrible. His bounty is only tens of millions. Pirates wandering on the Fishman Island. There are hundreds of millions of dollars. Just picking out one can easily solve this arrogant guy, but it can't stop people from a strong background. You must know that this guy with damn it has the surname Charlotte. What the surname Charlotte means is self-evident for the pirates who want to conquer the sea. Big Mom is one of the scary existences of New World. He is extremely fond of sweets, even because it seems so simple. The reason is that he would not hesitate to forcibly capture other countries, which is a heinous crime. Hey, Bugs, are you really the dragon people caught here? Didn't you just find a few seemingly to fool us? Charlotte Nins turned his head and said dismissively. The catfish Murloc was not at all upset by Charlotte Nins's words. Up to now, his heart is still pounding. Of course it's true. This was caught by our protector of the Fishman Island Luyun personally. Everyone at the scene knew this. Speaking of the protector, Luyun, the catfish Murloc was determined in his heart. In his opinion, Big Mom is indeed very powerful, but I am not bad. You must know that Luyun God can destroy the existence of the Holy Land at will. If this group of people want to find it in the Fishman Island unnatural, it is not to give Luyun God face. When Luyun God comes back, there will be good-looking ones from them. Advertisement. Thinking of this, the catfish Murloc didn't seem so flustered. Oh, isn't it? Ningzi sneered. Shit Luyun, I really think he is invincible in the world. What kind of green onion he is not worthy to give his mother shoes. The people on the Big Mom pirate ship laughed when Nins despised Luyun so much. Although they had already got some news about Luyun from the newspaper 867, in this era, who would really believe in the newspapers? The nonsense, maybe that guy Luyun paid a sum of money to get the newspaper to praise him. It's not that no one has done such a thing before. Fat pig, are you really a dragonite? Nings turned her gaze to a bloody, swollen face that couldn't see the human body, and said in a disdainful tone. You damn untouchable, you didn't even kneel after seeing this saint. When 5 elders wiped out the damn guy Luyun, I will lock you all up as slaves. The fat Tianlong man's stern eyes were dead. Staring at Nins, said with a grievance. Yeah, I'm so scared, I know you're a Tianlongren's offspring when you look like you are so innocent. Nings smiled cruelly. Although I have cut off the heads of many big people, I haven't done so yet. You world nobles don't know if it's different from others' heads. Hearing Nins's words, the face of the dragon people suddenly turned pale, and the soldiers of the Fishman Island standing aside were also a little flustered. You must know that Luyun God ordered these dragon people to fight casually, but did not say that they can be killed. However, at this moment, Nins had slowly pulled out the saber in his hand, and his scarlet tongue licked the corner of his mouth, showing a crazy look on his face. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 158. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Wait, only the Tianlongren are allowed to be killed here, not for killing. The squid Murloc said boldly. Trash, are you living enough? How dare you talk to Nin Sama like this? Capone Beige yelled and drew out the short spear from his waist and pointed at the squid. Gudong. The squid Murloc swallowed hard, and several tentacles waved in a disorderly manner, indicating that he didn't want to fight Charlotte Nins. You, Beige, don't you be so excited, you know we are here to visit, not to make trouble. Nings sneered. Although he said not to cause trouble, the craziness revealed in his eyes could be okay. See. But there is still a small lesson. There is always some garbage in the province. I don't know what my surname is, and I don't look at my own things. I dare to talk to me like this. Then, Ning's tone changed. Looked at the squid murloc spookily. The murlocs are indeed a rubbish race, they look so ugly, no wonder they have been unable to participate in the World Summit. Ning sneered, and slapped the squid to the ground. You are the son of Big Mom, if you can save us, I will give you what you want, money, rights, beauty. Seeing such a powerful Nins, I just clamored for it. When the slave Tianlongren became restless, and their small eyes flashed with a desire for survival, this time the first person to come to the Fishman Island to express his disdain for Luyun. Are you telling me a joke again? I admit that you said very well, and made this uncle laugh. Ninsby said with a smile, and when he looked up, he saw the writing not far away. Handwriting. Advertisement. Assault the Tianlongren at will, slap 100,000 Baileys, and kick 500,000 Baileys. The handwriting is Dragon and Phoenix Dance, but it can still be seen very clearly. Below it, there are several beautiful mermaid ladies collecting money, but because of the arrival of the servant Nins, all the paying people are gone. Do you think this uncle is a person who lacks money? Just kidding. Today I will let you see if this uncle who has a lot of money can kill you. Nings leaned into the ear of the Tianlongren and said softly, then stood up. To Bej next to him, he said, first, give me 10 million Baileys. I want to show this life and death fellow. Master Nins, I don't need money. Yo. Bej heard the words, took out a black password box from behind, threw it to the payment counter casually, and said arrogantly, no need to count, 10 million, just a lot more. Nings turned his gaze to the sky dragon again, smiled, and scared the latter to tremble. Yeah, I have to do the math. How many slaps and kicks can be done for 10 million? I hope you can hold on for a while. If I accidentally beat you to death, I can be compensated by others. How to do? After speaking, Nins raised his slender palm. Plap. With a crisp sound, a trace of bloodline oozes from the corner of the Tianlongren's mouth. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yeah, it seems that Tianlongren's face is also made of flesh and blood, I thought it was invulnerable. Hey. There was another crisp sound. The Tianlongren's face was swollen like a steamed bun, and his eyes were almost out of sight. He said vaguely. See Ning, for what building? Untouchables, I will definitely kill you. Regarding the threat of the Tianlongren, Nings could not care about it, but the strength in his hand became stronger. Advertisement. I want to see how you killed me. Is it possible to use your small eyes, ha ha ha, or use your fat body to disgust me? Nins kicked his foot in disgust, and only heard a click. The fallen dragonman wailed like a pig, and knew that his ribs had been cut off. Yeah, it's really casual, I've just slapped a few times, and it's already a virtue. Nings shook his hand and walked 2 steps forward, changing to a dragon and started to fight again. Stand up. Snapped. The blood flew across, the wailing continued, and from time to time a few teeth fell on the ground, and the people around couldn't bear to keep watching. What a vent of anger. This is completely torture. Enjoyed? Happy? You? This is much more fun than hacking people's heads. Nings played happily. Bej, give me another 20 million. I want to have a good time. It's really fun. Can you imagine how comfortable it is for those lofty masters who keep begging for mercy and howling in your hands? Do you want to give it a try? Try. Yo hoo hoo. At this moment, Nings's face was full of madness, and a lot of blood was splashed on his painted face, but this guy who seemed to be hysterical didn't care at all. Rush another 30 million Baileys. No, 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 give me 50 million Baileys. 30 million is not enough. I still have a lot of tricks that I haven't used. I want to have fun. It's really fun. This is called streaming. Yun's guy has to be said to be a genius. Nings was completely caught in the devil at this time, yelling in his mouth, crazy. Master Nins, we have no money. Capone Bej said bitterly. Hearing this, Nings had a pause and said in a cold voice, when we came, we brought a full 300 million Baileys. How could we have no money? Advertisement. Bej shrugged helplessly, glanced at the payment counter, and saw that the small table was filled with green Bailey, making his eyes red. My lord, you have been playing for almost an hour, and 300 million Baileys have been spent. Bej said embarrassedly. Hearing Bej's words, Ninza's face suddenly became gloomy. What's the joke? I'm having fun. Are you telling me that I can't play anymore? Ningza's tone was harsh, with a trace of killing intent. Bej couldn't help but fought a cold war. HMPH, I don't have any money, I have to continue playing. When will I have fun, and when will it be over? Ning sneered, turning his head and wanted to continue beating the Tianlongren. Stop, Lu Yunshan has ordered, pay first before hitting people, small business, no credit. The catfish Murloc did not know from which corner he jumped out, and said sternly. Although he was afraid to die in his heart, he still said it. The Fishman Island King Neptune said that as long as Luyun God has said, he must be meticulously implemented. If Luyun God is unhappy, it will be for the fish. For Men Island, it is a disaster in general. Ninza's face suddenly changed color, and the blood-stained face gave a weird smile, and it was even more grim. Smelly fish, I think you are tired and crooked. After speaking, Nins rushed to the catfish Murloc and knocked him to the ground with a punch. Chapter 159. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. 003-5. Since you want to die so, then I will fulfill you. Charlotte Nins drew out her long sword and smiled coldly. The sharp blade was emitting a blue light, and it struck the catfish Murloc's neck. For a while, the catfish Murloc closed his eyes in despair, but he did not regret what he said just now. Offending Big Mom is nothing, but the will of the god of Luyun must not be rebelled. If there is no god of Luyun, they the Fishman Island may still be struggling in pain. It is a sinful land that no one guards. After enjoying a happy and healthy life, the catfish Murloc never want to go back to the past. Goodbye, beautiful world. Tempest kick. However, at this moment, a crisp sound broke the tense atmosphere, and then a silver-white slash flew towards the long sword in Ninza's hand. Be careful, Master Nins. Bej spit out the cigar and hurriedly flew over. Armed. In an instant, Bej's Hungarian mouth became extremely dark, and he abruptly resisted the chopping wave coming from the impact. Advertisement. Who is it? Bej's face was as dark as the bottom of the pot, and his eyes looked in the direction where slashing wave came. I saw two valiant beauties galloping over, and one of them had a devilish figure that was even more amazing. Now I'm saved, the two adults are finally here. A soldier of the Fishman Island sighed and wiped the sweat from his forehead. He was really going to scare people to death just now. The people here are Tautu and Tsunade. It turned out that when the Big Mom ship first entered the port, Tsunade was notified by someone. After all, Big Mim's name is really too big. If you really want to make trouble, rely solely on the Fishman Island. Your own strength will never be an opponent anyway. You, Bej, relax, what can you do if you scare the two lovely ladies? Nins grinned, showing his molars. Looking at the stalwart Huns of Tsunade, Nings involuntarily swallowed a mouthful of water, thinking to himself that if this kind of kindness is torn, I don't know how fun it would be. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Although Nins asked Bej not to be nervous, Bej did not relax at all. He already recognized that one of them was the former Marine's high-ranking Peach Rabbit. At first glance, these two beauties seem harmless to humans and animals, but Bej, who has been on the battlefield, feels the danger of these two people. Master Nins, please step back, these two people are not easy. Bej said in a deep voice, in his opinion a battle is inevitable. Regarding Nins's strength, Bej knew that he was just a second-generation ancestor of a gangster. If he hadn't been cut off from his head long ago by a group of men, it would be a long life if he wanted to spend a lot of money. But even though I thought so in my heart, I couldn't say that on my lips. Advertisement. However, Nins didn't care, walked staggeringly towards Tsunade, and he saw the guy whose body was hollowed out by alcohol. This young lady looks familiar, have we met somewhere? Ningzi leaned over and said with a smile, but with his painted face, there was a different kind of comical appearance. Sense. Tsunade sneered and said, hee hee, I think you have a big dream and have not yet woken up. After speaking, Tsunade yelled, weird punch. Danger. Bej's chills shuddered, and he just wanted to pull Nins, who was standing in front of him, but it was too late. I saw a loud bang, and Nins, who was still smiling and hippie, flew out in an instant. After hitting countless pirates, he slid for tens of meters and finally stopped after hitting a coral reef, lying motionless on the ground. Fainted. Hiss. No one would have thought that such a thin and weak woman could have so much strength that she could beat Nins, the servant who offered a reward of 70 million Baileys, into this way. Is it possible that the Fishman Island has become a lie? The place where the tiger hides the dragon. HMPH, you still want to confuse me in these 2 moments. I really don't know that the sky is so great for me, your aunt and grandma. Tsunade snorted and turned his eyes to Capone Beige. Do you know how big a mistake you made? Beige looked gloomy, as if he could squeeze out the water, and his attention shifted from Nins to this incredibly powerful woman. Hee, I can tell you without exaggeration. With your punch, not only will you fall into hell, but the people you have a relationship with will be treated terribly. Stupid woman, you really understand big what does mom mean? Capone Beige took a cigar out of his arms and lighted it calmly, as if it had nothing to do with Nins's life or death. Capone Beige naturally heard that many people around him said that he was cold-blooded and didn't even care about the life or death of Big Mom's son. In this regard, he just snorted and thought to himself, huh, stupid man, mother with so many children, how many deaths each year? What's the matter? What's more, this guy Nins is a trash, he died early, and he was relieved. Advertisement. Hearing this madman wearing a cowboy hat, Tsunade chuckled and said slowly, oh, yes, should I be a little scared at this time, but should I tell you who I am involved in? What? Capone Beige raised her eyebrows, as if she was a little surprised by this woman's behavior. It stands to reason that many people were sincere and terrified after hearing her mother's name, but this woman was just the opposite. Not only did she not panic, but rather there was some expectation. Hee, I don't worry about what people who have a relationship with me will suffer. If you really have this ability, I really want to see how that little bastard is bullied. Said this, Tsunade Yinya darkly bite, obviously suffocating in my heart for a long time. There was a drop of cold sweat on the forehead of Tautu standing next to him. It seems that Tsunade was upset about the loss to Chin Luo, and it was really a woman. Oh, isn't it? I want to see who is the guy who makes you so confident. Capone Beige took a sharp sip of the cigar, then threw it on the ground, slowly puffing out smoke rings. Those who are familiar with him know that this is a prelude to hands-on. The only one who has an unclear relationship with me right now is Ryun. Tsunade said, as if talking about a trivial matter. Hiss. When the people around heard this woman's words, they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. No wonder she was so powerful, it turned out that she was the woman of the god of flowing clouds. If Tsunade knew that others thought so, I wonder if he would regret the vague words he just said, but then again, isn't the 2 people in this relationship? Hee, what can Luyun do? Compared to my mother, it's a rubbish. Today, I will kill the guy who doesn't know the height of the sky with you first. Capone Beige roared, and then dashed up. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 160. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Seeing this, Tautu and Tsunade's originally calm faces showed a stern look. Toast and not eat fine wine. What a good temper. Tsunade's eyes are dark. Since she was scammed by Luyun Master for 50 years, she has become irritable, even though she borrowed millions of peach rabbits. Li went to beat the Tianlongren, but to Tsunade, the Tianlongren was no different from ordinary people. She didn't realize the refreshing feeling of beating the Tianlongren at all. After the fight, not only did not eliminate the anger against Luyun, but also owed Tautu a lot of money. This makes Tsunade more grumpy. Before he suffocated, he ran into a guy who was stretched out of his neck. How could Tsunade let him go? Huh, just a few women and children, go away. Capone Beige's face was gloomy, and the iron fist covered in armed color had already heard the sound. Weird power punch. Armed color. Hardened. Boom. Unbiased, Capone Beige punched directly with Tsunade's strange fist, and the surging destructive power on Tsunade's fist made Capone Beige gasp. Boom. In an instant, Capone Beige couldn't resist the huge strange power, and flew straight out, bumping into a coral reef with a bang, and the dust was full, while Capone Beige lay awkwardly on the edge of the broken coral reef. The catfish Murloc was lying on the ground, his face pale in fright. Sit up with difficulty. The people and pirates of the Fishman Island surrounding them kept crying in exclamation. Advertisement. How is it possible? The captain of the famous flame tank pirates in the West Sea was beaten to the ground. Am I right? Is this really Capone Beige? Hi. It seems that the Fishman Island is in trouble. Not only did you beat Charlotte Linlin's son Charlotte Nins, but also fought Capone Beige. This really provokes the Charlotte family. The pirate's heart was beating wildly, shocked. Cut. Is the Charlotte family very awesome? In front of the god of flowing clouds, what is that? Shish, keep your voice down, shut up if you don't want to cause trouble. The sound of shock, fear, disdain and jealousy spread from the Fishman Island, making the surrounding atmosphere suddenly tense. The Charlotte family is not afraid of the world government, and Flowing Cloud God is equally fearless. So, whether the Charlotte family is stronger or weaker than Flowing Cloud God, there are many people in the Fishman Island who are playing drums in their hearts. Although they worship the god of flowing clouds, this is not blind worship. There are still a few thoughts in the worship. Baguma has super devil fruit abilities. He holds Thundercloud Zeus in his left hand and Sun Prometheus in his right hand. He can control the weather at will, attracting storms and lightning, which can be regarded as catastrophic killings. As for the trick, Bigumum is also able to capture it, and even inject his soul into the dark cloud. He can command the thundercloud. The method is called heaven defying. And if this Pigumum really wants to collide with the god of flowing clouds, it is still unclear who will die. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. But 100% of the people on the Fishman Island support Luyun, because Luyun, a stalwart, tall man, brings them peace and prosperity. Even, faintly, the prestige of the god of flowing clouds has surpassed that of the king of the Fishman Island, Neptune. Today, although Neptune is in power, Luyun is the god in the hearts of the people of the Fishman Island, a supreme existence and a kind of belief. Things like miscellaneous fish are really boring. Tsunade clapped his hands in disdain, feeling very unchallenging. Sister, don't be careless. Tautu's beautiful eyes were cold, and she looked at Capone Beige with a slight dignity. The name Capone Beige, Tautu has heard of, is the leader of the Flame Tank pirate group. In just a few years, he has risen to fame in Shihai and established his undoubtedly high status. Faced with such a character, one must be prepared. Advertisement. Hey, Tautu, be too vigilant. This kid was beaten to the ground by me, what else can there be? Tsunade said nonchalantly, one of the three ninjas in the dignified Naruto world, what scene has never been seen before? To be honest, just a Capone Beige, really can't get into Tsunade's eyes. Sister Tsunade, this world can't be confused with the world you imagine. There is a kind of person in this world, called the capable person, who is an upgraded person who has eaten devil fruit, and his strength is terrifying. Oh, really? No matter what the horror of this guy is, I just smashed it with one punch. Tsunade nodded to Tautu's kind reminder, and was a little cautious. Damn it. Capone Beige got up from the coral pile, kicked the boulder next to him, his face pale. He used the armor color to harden and fought with Tsunade, but still did not offset the huge power that can be called a monster. After standing up, Capone Beige's eyes flushed and he patted the dust on his body, his expression gloomy. Boy, what's your ability? Don't be afraid of being armed. Capone Beige stood up, speculating. This kind of ability is a bit weird. Fighting with this woman's bare hands would be very disadvantaged. Capone Beige, who is so experienced, figured it out for the first time, if he resisted. Armed color. What is that? Tell you. No matter what, it is smashed by a punch in the hands of my old lady. Tsunade raised his pink fist and Haki said. What a big tone. Capone Beige sneered. Before Capone Beige turned the corner, Tsunade's right leg lifted up in the air and stepped heavily on the Fishman Island. Tien Shou feet. Bang. Suddenly, the earth shook quickly, and at the foot of Tsunade, thick and hideous cracks popped up frantically, and the place shook violently, like a mountain collapsed and the ground cracked. What happened? What kind of trick is this? This kick is so strong. Advertisement. Suddenly, countless pirates who were close to each other gasped, and a huge violent air wave immediately lifted them off. Countless pirates and their people rushed far away. The violent shaking of the earth made them feel bad steady, staggering, making it very embarrassing. And Capone Beige also swayed from side to side, trying to stabilize his figure. Little devil, punch my old lady. Tsunade's red lips lightly opened, and when he saw that Capone Beige couldn't take care of him, Tsunade stepped on the gravel, his figure flashed away, and slammed Capone Beige with a punch. Damn it! A stern look appeared in Capone Beige's eyes, and he hurriedly used the ability of the city's fruit. Castle Blast. Boom. Suddenly, when Tsunade 3.1 fist hits, a mini-shaped wall emerges directly from Capone Beige's body. Then, this mini-shaped wall swells against the wind, and instantly expands into a full 1 meter thick. A huge thick iron wall a few meters long and wide. Boom. Tsunade shot away and hit the iron wall with a strange punch. Then, in the shocking eyes of countless people, dense cracks appeared on the iron wall. Punch. Shattered. Boy, what is the ability to hide? Have the ability to punch my old lady head on. Tsunade looked at the shattered iron wall that was blasted by him, and couldn't help but said coldly. Huh, although I have to admit that you have a bit of strength, but, you are big, try my tricks now. Capone Beige was slightly shocked for a moment, and soon returned to normal, staring at Tsunade with a sinister look. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 161. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Twoda. You are still breastfeeding while my old lady is galloping on the battlefield. Tsunade looked disdainful, and the right hand that had just been put down was raised high, clenched his pink fist, and slammed towards Capone Beige. A strong and clear sense of crisis instantly rose to Capone Beige's heart. Castle Blast. Capone Beige retreated quickly and drank from his mouth. Suddenly, countless miniature forks, swords and halberds emerged from Capone Beige's body. In the surprise of Tsunade, all the weapons were soaring in the wind, instantly expanding dozens of times, turning into an iron soldier capable of slaying the enemy. Hey, try my tricks. Capone Beige saw Tsunade's dignified gaze, and couldn't help sneering, manipulating hundreds of cold weapons and whizzing towards Tsunade. Be careful, sister. Tautu's expression was startled, his right foot stepped on the ground, and the whole person jumped up suddenly. Shave. The figure exploded, and in an instant, Peach Rabbit came to Tsunade's back, hugged Tsunade with both hands, twisted his body, and quickly avoided the flashing sword, sword and halberd. Huh, I thought you could survive 12 with a helper. Capone Beige looked at the two women mockingly, with a murderous intent in his heart. Afterwards, Capone Beige controlled the flashing weapon and turned quickly, following the two women. Peach Rabbit, let me down and let me beat him to death. Tsunade's face was cold, and he couldn't wait to punch this guy who would hide. Sister, I'm talking about avoiding this weapon first. Peach Rabbit's thoughts turned sharply, and he ran quickly with Marine 6 styles. Moonwalk. Advertisement. Yuzu trampled dozens of times in the air within 1 second, quickly evading. Kill. Capone Beige seemed to have played enough, with a violent look in his eyes, the speed of the iron tools chasing Tautu and Tsunade's sword, waving and strangling in the void. Damn it. Tautu's face was cold, the cold weapon behind him was crazily shortening the distance, and it was about to hit. Shave. Suddenly, the figures of Tautu and Tutu quickly twisted and moved towards the sky, while countless swords and halberds slashed straight on the huge boulder set by Chin Luo, and some of the text was blurred. Hidden. The people of the Fishman Island squeezed cold sweats for Tautu and Tsunade at the same time, and when they saw them avoiding, they shouted in excitement. Fortunately, it's okay. Damn Capone Beige. Doesn't he know the horror of flowing cloud god? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Look at it. Capone Beige has blurred the rules set by the god of flowing clouds. What? When the people of the Fishman Island heard this, they turned their heads and looked at them, and they saw that the rules that had warned the pirates had been destroyed by Capone Beige, and some of the writing was blurred, making it hard to read. Damn it. I dare to slander Master Luyun. This is the rule set by Master Luyun. Capone Beige not only violated it, he was also destroyed. He is dead. A woman from the Fishman Island has beautiful eyes and stared at Capone Beige. He will definitely be punished. The will of the god of flowing clouds cannot be blasphemed. Kill him. Kill him. At this moment, Capone Beige inadvertently broke the rules of the god of flowing clouds, which immediately aroused the group's anger. All the people on the Fishman Island gritted their teeth and wished to eat Capone Beige. Advertisement. And the pirates have a look of fear. The look at Capone Beige is also a pitiful look. Capone Beige didn't care about the anger around him. He sneered and scanned the people of the Fishman Island, and said arrogantly, "A bunch of trash, mere lowly people, dare to be arrogant in front of me." Castle tank. Bang. In the blink of an eye, a white mist quickly churned up, and then Capone Beige's legs turned into music tracks, like a tank. Mist people, let me crush you, uncle. Capone Beige dangling cigarettes, bloodthirsty laughter. Then, the crawler quickly rotated, and the Roshan-like body was crushed toward the people of the Fishman Island. Protect the people of the Fishman Island. Drag to the return of Lord Luyun Shen. A king's army roared loudly, and countless soldiers of the Fishman Island rushed out from behind. The people of the Fishman Island are generally unarmed civilians. Except for the Murlocs in the backstreets of the Fishman Island, the only ones with combat effectiveness are the king's army of the Fishman Island. A large number of kings armed with halberds and long swords rushed out to protect the people of the Fishman Island, as if they had already been protected. Since the god of flowing clouds became the patron god of the Fishman Island, there has never been a pirate who dared to make trouble on the Fishman Island, so the speed of army assembly has been much slower. Even King Neptune saw such a flourishing age. All want to withdraw the king's army. After all, this kind of easy life doesn't need soldiers. But I never imagined that if I haven't had a rest for a month, someone who is not afraid of death would dare to make trouble in the Fishman Island. Dragon Palace. Inside the magnificent hall, King Neptune was sitting comfortably on the dragon chair, looking at the rich fruits of the past 10 days. The ground was full of gold, and barley. The eyes of Neptune who looked at him were dim. Advertisement. At this moment, a soldier hurried in from outside the palace, kneeling on the ground with a pale face, panting. What's the matter? As a soldier of the Fishman Island, under the protection of Lord Luyun God, he is still so impatient. King Neptune gave the man a dissatisfied look and said in a low voice. Report. To the king. The Fishman Island. Point 453. The Fishman Island has pirates making trouble. What? Making trouble? King Neptune heard this. The original pleasant smile was fleeting, replaced by endless anger. Damn it. What's the matter? With the protection of Lord Luyun, there are still people making trouble. He doesn't want to live anymore. Which one is it? Pirates make trouble. Report. It's Capone Beige, and the Big Mom pirate group. What? Big Mom? King Neptune has automatically ignored the weak Capone Beige. After all, Big Mom is the strong enemy. What's the situation now? Neptune's beard trembled and asked in a deep voice. Miss Tautu and Miss Tsunade have already gone to resist, but it seems that it is a bit difficult to deal with them. Damn it. Assemble the king's army. Go and support. Neptune waved his hand, stood up, and quickly walked out of the kingdom. Yes. Ah, help. Help me. I don't want to die yet. Wow. Mom. Mom. The streets of the Fishman Island are already in a mess at the moment. Countless people flee madly, and the fear that is gradually forgotten by them once again swept their minds. Protect the people. Get ready to fight. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 162. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Dozens of soldiers held halberds, their hands trembling slightly, staring at Capone Beige as if they were facing an enemy. Die, Capone Beige said in a cold voice, and the track had been crushed violently. A dozen soldiers fought to resist, they were directly hit and thrown into the ground and vomited blood. Damn it! Tsunade and Tautu looked at the chaotic the Fishmen Island peacefully, and Tautu first showed off and chased up quickly. And Tsunade watched Capone Beige attack unscrupulously and indiscriminately, and her beautiful eyes couldn't help but become angry. Immediately, Tsunade quickly formed a seal with both hands, and murmured softly in his mouth, "Body replacement technique." Boom. Originally at Tsunade's location, a burst of white smoke rose up. Then, the white smoke disappeared and turned into a rock. The rock lost its gravity and fell to the ground. The strange disappearance of Miss Tsunade attracted the attention of many pirates, but this kind of attention was also dissipated by the form on the battlefield in an instant. Weird power punch. The figure appeared, Tsunade blasted out with a punch, and suddenly, the violent power of the powder fist hit Capone Beige's side track, and the invisible strength was like a gust of rain, and it poured densely on the track. Boom. With a punch, Capone Beige's entire body turned sideways. Damn it! Capone Beige gritted his teeth, a sharp pain in his leg, changing into a human form again. Kill. When the soldiers of the Fishmen Island saw Capone Beige restored to their original state, they immediately fought fiercely with swords in their hands. Humph. Seeing this, Capone Beige raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth, and said arrogantly, "Castle full size, big boss." Boom. Advertisement. A loud and earth-shattering noise came out, and immediately, on the Fishmen Island, the water was surging, the earth trembling violently, a strong shock wave swept out, and dust swept the place instantly. The pupils of countless people of the Fishmen Island shrank suddenly, and saw a castle rapidly expanding, crushing directly towards them. What? Run away, asshole. Capone Beige wants to demolish this place. Humph. Flowing Cloud God will definitely not let him go. Brothers. Hold on to me. Master Luyun will definitely save us. Asshole. What kind of monster is this? Tsunade's beautiful eyes trembled, and after seeing the giant castle, he suddenly became a little uneasy. Sister Tsunade, this should be the fruiting ability of this person. Damn it, if there is seawater here, they will be completely incapacitated. It won't help to say so much. If you can't beat him, just delay it first. Tsunade said to Peach Rabbit with chills in her beautiful eyes. Tautu and Tsunade looked at each other and agreed. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Weird power punch. Tempest kick. As the two beautiful women talked, their bodies flashed, and they did not retreat but moved forward. The whole body was like a cannonball, with its feet on the ground, and shot towards the castle. Gia ha ha ha. All die. All die. The castle opened its mouth, trembling violently, moving quickly towards the crowd. This must be crushed, there will be countless the fishmen. The people of the island are ruined here. Damn it. Tsunade's face was cold and frosty, his eyebrows tucked into a ball, and a punch hit the castle. At the same time, a big hole was punched out of the wall, and Tsunade rushed in with inertia. And Tautu also kicked the wall of a castle and leapt in. Afterwards, the entrance was completely dark. When Tsunade and Tautu were about to escape, the damaged wall was restored to its original appearance. Advertisement. Jayahaha. Kill you two first, then kill the flowing cloud, and dedicate this the Fishmen Island to Big Mom. She will be very satisfied with such a gift, because the Fishmen Island is rich in desserts. Capone Beige smiled wickedly. At the same time, Tsunade and Tautu, who are deep in the castle, have solemn expressions on their faces. Sister Tsunade, I've heard of this ability. He is a strong city of fruit. He can transform his body into a castle, and he can also use a swamp in the castle. Many things are stationed in his body. Sister, be careful. Peach Rabbit and Tsunade are back to back, both alert to the surrounding changes. Suddenly, a cold glow struck, and quickly slashed towards Tsunade. Tsunade and Tautu were keen on the crisis at the same time, and the two looked towards the upper right side together, and a sharp and piercing sound was very clear and fast. Armed color. Hardened. Tautu screamed, and immediately the whole right arm turned to pitch black, and he raised it high, blocking the heads of the two. Clang. Sparks were flying everywhere, and a sharp long sword slashed on Tautu's right arm. Asshole. Even this kind of sneak attack. Tautu said with a cold glow in her beautiful eyes, and said with shame. Gia ha ha ha. Little devil. Since you two are attracted by Charlotte Nins, you should obediently make your senses. Your mother's strength is so strong that you won't suffer a lot from becoming mother's daughter-in-law. Quote. Daydreaming. Tsunade took a bite with Tautu, and then Tsunade violently, his right foot lifted up, and suddenly stepped on the ground. Tien show feet. Bang. The fierce leg wind swept across, and then a foot collapsed, the entire castle was trembling violently, the ground roared, and countless stones fell and fell. Ahem. Asshole. Capone Bedge's angry voice spread, and there was a burst of light around him, and then countless soldiers rode on their horses and held several meters of halberds. Just let you taste my power. Go ahead, my soldier. Advertisement. With an order, hundreds of cavalry slammed their horses, and immediately, one after another, the horses rushed, and the earth trembled violently, and countless sharp weapons approached Tsunade and Tautu. Peach Rabbit, you go up first. Tsunade hurriedly shouted with gloomy eyes. No, I want to be with my sister. Dao Tu's white face flashed a stubborn, uncompromising voice. I have a way to leave, you go up first. Tsunade didn't have time to explain. Chakra was condensed on his right arm. Tsunade stretched out his right hand, grabbing Tautu's arm and flicking upwards, Tautu flew out. At the same time, countless war horses and soldiers have already fought, and the cold weapons are shining with cold light, which is creepy. Kill. The soldier roared, and the long spear and long sword had already approached Tsunade. Seeing the sky full of swords and arrows, Tsunade's mouth curled up, and his hands quickly formed seals. Body replacement technique. Bang. A burst of smoke filled the smoke, and in an instant countless sword, forks, swords and halberds pierced into the white smoke. You died. Huh. Master Capone Bedge is invincible. We are Capone Bedge's heroes. It's really weak, it's so vulnerable. Hey. Disappointed. Countless arrows pierced, and countless groans sounded all around, saying that they hadn't mentioned the nature yet. Asshole. Missed. Suddenly, a harsh sound came from here, which immediately pulled everyone back into reality. Chapter 163. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Missed. Damn it. It's a stone. We hit a stone. What's the matter? It was clearly alone just now. Everyone couldn't help taking a breath, and their thoughts flew. The figure disappeared when he turned around. This terrifying reaction speed and ability were really incredible. Hey, kid, what are you looking at? Suddenly, above the soldier's head, Tsunade's voice suddenly sounded, and all the soldiers looked up and saw Tsunade smiled and slammed his pink fist directly down. Weird power punch. Boom. The sound was shaking, and Tsunade punched down, and a soldier was directly smashed to pieces. Even all the people and horses within a radius of 5 meters were affected and suffered heavy injuries. A big punch fell. Huh, I really want to be a bully. Tsunade made a hit and patted his arm with disdain. Sister, are you okay? Tautu called out in surprise after seeing Tsunade's figure. Of course, there are some rotten salted fish, and the smelly bird egg wants to solve me. There is no door. Peach Rabbit. Now we start to fight back. Fight out. Tsunade Hockey commanded, then clenched his right fist, and slammed to the other side. Weird power punch. Tempest kick. The two women were skillfully going back and forth in the battlefield, a wave of strong shock waves emitting light blue light swept toward the soldiers with a thunderous momentum. Boom. Boom. Advertisement. Wow. Help. Monster. Monster. Puff. A terrible voice came out. Tsunade and Tautu cooperated and directly defeated the soldiers in the castle. Asshole. Can't beat it. Capone Bedge's frustrated voice came out. Little devil. Let me out quickly if you know me, otherwise, I will kill you all. After Tsunade punched several soldiers to death, he believed himself. Huh, a bunch of little ants, this is just appetizers, really when I can't catch you. Capone Beige suddenly laughed when he heard the words. Castle. Swamp. With a low drink from Capone Beige, suddenly, Tsunade and Tautu had a strange feeling. They lowered their eyes and saw the originally hard ground squirming quickly, and then it completely turned into a swamp. Those who were beaten, the severely wounded soldier was completely swallowed by the swamp and plunged into the quagmire. Sister. A hint of panic flashed across Tautu's beautiful eyes, and she couldn't help crying. It's okay, I'm here. Tsunade turned around and smiled, comforting Tautu. At the same time, her hands were sealed, and then her surroundings turned into a white mist again. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Body replacement technique. When the smoke disappeared, Tsunade's side was originally occupied by a huge boulder, and then the boulder was quickly swallowed by the swamp. At this moment, Tautu wanted to use the shave to escape, but his feet were deep in the mud and could not be pulled out. Body replacement technique. Before Tsunade relaxes, she seals in the air again, and with a bang, Tautu and Tsunade's figures change, and Tsunade is stuck in the quagmire. Tautu appears in the original position. What? Come out. Tautu's eyes widened in disbelief, as if he had seen a ghost. Shave. Moonwalk. Tautu escaped and hurriedly used Marine 6 styles to stabilize her figure. At this moment, Tsunade made a seal with both hands again, and the whole person disappeared in the swamp, standing on a rock. Advertisement. What? Can you avoid my swamp? Capone Beige couldn't help being surprised when he noticed the two escaped. Boy, what is your ability? Capone Beige's incredible voice spread throughout the castle. No comment. Old ghost. Now my mother. I will smash your broken place. Tsunade smiled confidently, then clenched his right fist and blasted directly on the city wall. Rumble. The entire hall and attic were shaking, countless flying debris was sprinkled madly, and the rocks pierced through the space, a mess. After the punch, there was a big hole deep in the wall, but the wall was not smashed through. It's hard enough. Tsunade opened the corner of his mouth and kicked with his right leg. Tien Shou feet. Tempest kick. In an instant, Tautu and Tsunade kicked madly for dozens of times. In the end, the strong castle collapsed and was kicked out of a huge gap. Seeing the bright light from outside, Tautu and Tsunade flashed out. After escaping, the two of them breathed a sigh of relief. Asshole. All of you will be ruined here. Capone Beige's angry voice spread, and then opened his mouth wide, and countless soldiers screamed out on their horses, and in an instant, the wind was soaring. The soldier was covered with cold armor, and the long gun in his hand was cold. When he appeared, he suddenly panicked. Kill them all. Capone Beige's anger came from the castle, and then all the soldiers raised their weapons and rushed towards the people of the Fishmen Island. Kill. Countless noises came from the soldiers' mouths, and then several figures flew in quickly. Murloc Karate. Advertisement. A sound resounded, and then, a soldier flew out backwards, and even the warhorse was stunned and bloody. The person here is a whale shark man with blue skin, wind-like eyebrows and sideburns, a haircut with a curly wind, a thick black short beard on his chin, a lightning-like scar on the corner of his left eye, a large body, and 2 large jaws. Tooth. It is the seaman Jinbei from now on, but Jinbei is slightly immature at this time. Jinbei. Ooh, it's Fisher Tiger. Also, long. At this time, the friends from Fishmen Street also rushed in quickly. Since the blessing of the floating cloud god, there the Fishmen Island can be said to have good weather and soaring income, and they will never suffer from the oppression of the world government again. The fish people headed by Tiger all worship the Luyun god endlessly. Huh. It turned out to be a mess when Mr. Luyun was away, even if you were from Big Mom. I, Fisher Tiger, will be merciless when I make a shot. Big brother. Stop talking nonsense. Kill him. Jinbei opened his mouth wide, and his 2 big white teeth were extremely conspicuous. Do it. Hey, dare to invade the Fishmen Island. You guys are really a headache. Murloc. Long, grinning sneer, the figure rushed forward, and instantly bit a soldier in the neck, and then, bite directly. Fisher Tiger also showed a fierce look, thick curly hair, a wide mouth closed tightly, his red palm directly grabbed a soldier's halberd, and then lifted his right hand up, the whole weapon and the soldier were raised by Fisher Tiger, then thrown to the other side. Kill. After the Murlocs arrived, King Neptune's kingdom army roared in with a loud voice. Huh. Many people think I'm afraid. Capone Beige smiled again and again, opening the gate of the city like his mouth. Numerous turrets were revealed. Castle blasting. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 164. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Oops. Resist it. Fisher Tiger's expression tightened, and he roared out in shock. For a while, the people on the Fishman Island all saw the pitch-black muzzle, which was half a meter in diameter, rushing to the buildings on the Fishman Island and the civilians. Flee. Cannon. Cannon. The people on the Fishman Island struggled from panic, fleeing frantically one by one, and then all the cannons turned their way. Boom. 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 Suddenly, the sound of artillery resounded through the Fishman Island, and fierce gun smoke swept out from the dense artillery barrels in the castle. Suddenly, the entire castle was covered with a layer of white gunpowder dust, and a strong smell of gunpowder came on the surface. What's more frightening is that countless football-sized iron balls gushing out from the artillery, tracing the gorgeous arcs of the aisles, and shooting toward the Fishman Island like a meteor shower overwhelmingly. Rumble. Advertisement. In an instant, the whole land was trembling crazily, and the surroundings were turbulent. The originally flat ground was now in a mess, with ravines and gullies crisscrossed with smoke. The sky became red. Even the 12 air has become hot. The momentum is huge, like a natural disaster. Damn it. Protect the people of the Fishman Island. Fisher Tiger showed a stern look, the blue veins on the bright red skin violently. The whole person leapt up, kicking a cannonball that blasted the civilians. The Murloc A. Long. Murloc. With awe-inspiring fangs, his figure moved quickly towards the castle, and then he bit a gun emplacement with a bang, and shattered with his teeth. Jinbei's figure was vacant, and his hands were winding and rugged in the air, as if there was a certain rhythm. In an instant, his blue-skinned hands lifted forward, and a domineering wave of waves impacted from his hands. Merman Karate. 5,000 watts punches. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Boom. Jinbei's figure flickered, his hands frantically slapped towards the void. Suddenly, heart-palpitating fluctuations rushed out quickly, and then countless phantoms and violent energy burst out of Jinbei's hands, converging into a frenzy. Long. Strangled towards the howling shells. In an instant, countless shells were resisted by Jinbei's 5,000-watt punches. Even some shells were shattered and turned into fly ash directly under Jinbei's attack. Tautu's exquisite face continued to sweat, and the figure jumped to a height. His right foot was covered with armament hockey, and one foot crossed out. Tempest kick. The crescent-shaped edge with a light blue light swept out, and the surging power was transmitted vastly in the air, and the fast-moving shells were kicked by the Peach Rabbit. Advertisement. Tsunade also used the body replacement technique, and his figure fluctuated strangely. In the blink of an eye, he appeared next to a cannonball. His right fist smashed and the entire cannonball was smashed into pieces. At this moment, artillery fires on the Fishman Island, and some pirates also joined the army to resist Capone Beige to protect the safety of the people of the Fishman Island. Gia ha ha ha. The flow of waste. The Fishman Island will be captured by me. Dedicated to my mother. She will be very happy. Capone Beige's arrogant voice sounded, reaching everyone's ears, very ear-piercing. At the same time, Charlotte Nins also woke up in the blast in a daze. He climbed up and saw the surrounding ruins. Part of the Fishman Island was turned into dust. Numerous houses collapsed and the flames skyrocketed. Smoke and dust filled. Wow. Mom. Mom. Wake up. Save me. Save me. Luyun God. Luyun. Save us. God. A fisherman vomited blood and lay miserably on the ground. His Hun's mouth was blown in half. His whole body was dying. He was dying, looking forward to the appearance of Luyun God, and then his eyes became dim and distracted. In addition to this place, the ditch and ravines on the ground were full of corpses, arms, legs, and even heads were blown to pieces, and the number of deaths and injuries increased exponentially, even with Fisher Tiger, Jinbei, Taotu, Tsunade. Wait for the guard, but this kind of large-scale attack can't make the people peaceful at all. Gia ha ha ha. All die. You. Capone Beige. Did you cause such damage in just a short amount of time? That's good. When I go back, I will definitely pull you out of my mother. Charlotte Nins rubbed his slightly painful head, lewdly. Evil laughter. Master Nins. When Capone Beige saw Charlotte Nins wake up, he couldn't help but curse. These people from the Fishmen Island are really useless. This Charlotte Nins fainted there. Don't kill it quickly. If Capone Beige does it, he will definitely provoke the ant, and if the people of the Fishmen Island are killed, Capone Beige is attacking the Fishmen Island, and finally said to the ant that it was for Charlotte. Nings captured the Fishmen Island with revenge. This must be a good opportunity for improvement. Damn it. Capone Beige was a little angry and cursed in his heart. At the same time, he heard a false voice. Master Nins, you were knocked out by this stinky girl just now. I am avenging you. Now I am massacring the people of the Fishmen Island. If the floating cloud bastard doesn't come out, it's only a matter of time before it can be captured. Of course, even if floating cloud appears, I'm sure to beat him to a crippled. With these shrimps, soldiers and crabs, I want to be the gods who bless the Fishmen Island. I simply don't put my mother in my eyes. The Fishmen Island. I must beat my mother. Advertisement. Okay. Capone Beige. Do it. Uncle, I will say a few words in front of your mother for you. You will become prosperous in the future. Okay. Capone Beige nodded earnestly, and then 260 gunfire crazily covered the past. Taotu and others were tired and sweaty, and Fisher Tiger, Jinbei and other murlocs were also exasperated. Some of the people of the Fishmen Island died, maimed, escaped, and the whole the Fishmen Island has been messed up. Some pirates even want to take advantage of this chaotic opportunity and want to fish in troubled waters. That's right. Capone Beige. Grab those two little girls. Uncle, I must have a good time. You. Charlotte Nins stood in front of the castle like an ant. After Capone Beige saw the two people pointed by Charlotte Nins, he suddenly laughed. Don't worry, my lord, these two little ones are going to give it to you. No need for your reminder. The little ones will do it all by themselves. After speaking, countless forks, swords and halberds poured out frantically from the gate of the castle, like countless pairs of tentacles, grabbing at the resisting Peach Rabbit and Tsunade. Seeing Capone Beige's shot, Charlotte Nins laughed awkwardly, a perverted color appeared on his hideous face, a scarlet tongue, and his head kept extending outward, and his eyes were evil. Ha ha ha. Grab the two of them. I must take a good look at him, Xiao Yi. Let them taste the mighty power of this uncle. Oh, you want to touch my Luyun woman too, can't you die? Dash 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 dash. Recommend my new book, Pirate God Alchemist. Close black lens bracket absolutely cool. Absolutely beautiful. Guichi everything. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 165. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Who? Charlotte Nins's face was cold, her eyes burst out with endless fierce glow, and she shot around. At the same time, Capone Beige also became vigilant, controlling his sword and halberd frantically to grab Taotu and Tsunade. Countless sharp swords gleaming with cold light approached Tsunade and Taotu. At the same time, a figure suddenly flashed in front of Tsunade and Taotu, dressed in a red cloud and black robe, and wearing a mask on his face. Although he could not see his face, he could feel the indifferent and arrogant king of this person. Shen Luo Tianzheng. Qin Luo bluffed his right hand, and the surging repulsive force suddenly burst out from his right hand. The swords and halberds killed by the whistling were deformed by the repulsive force, twisted and rolled out. God. It's God. I don't know who it is, he shouted with excitement, and then, the countless people of the Fishmen Island who fled stopped, and there was a hint of hope on their frightened faces. God. God really came. Another citizen of the Fishmen Island holding a child looked dull and tearful. God. God of flowing clouds. Fisher Tiger and the future seaman Jinbei and others were relieved and looked at the man who had blessed the Fishmen Island. God. God. God of flowing clouds. Suddenly, the people of the Fishmen Island stood up in awe, with respect and worship in their eyes. Luyun God, save us. The Fishmen Island is about to be captured by the 540 pirates. Wow. My son died in the explosion. All this damn pirate. God avenges us. Flowing clouds. As soon as Chin Luo appeared, a cry of calling came over. Chin Luo clearly captured their voices. Seeing the broken bricks and the earth on the Fishmen Island, he understood that there was a war here. Advertisement. What's the matter? Chin Luo turned to look at Tsunade and Taotu, and asked seriously. Luyun, someone provokes the Fishmen Island and breaks the rules you set. Tsunade stood behind and replied slightly. She didn't stop all of this at the first time, and she felt ashamed. Make trouble. Chin Luo raised an eyebrow, as if he heard a joke. Since he blessed the Fishmen Island with the title of Flowing Clouds, he dug a deep sea tunnel and opened up the connection with the Chambord Islands. This period of time can be described as smooth and rainy. The coating industry on the Chambord Islands also fought the Fishmen. The island, in addition, has attracted a large number of pirate groups. Today, the Fishmen Island can be said to be overwhelmingly popular. No one dared to make trouble for a month. How long has he been out? The whole the Fishmen Island was caused to be like this. Dare to make trouble in the Fishmen Island, except for those who have never heard of the name of Luyun, there are only defiant pirates. Is that him? Chin Luo raised his eyelids and scanned the front indifferently, the castle like a mountain, and Charlotte Nins beside the castle. Boy, you are Luyun. Uncle, I can be regarded as seeing your head shrinking turtle. Capone Beige, just tear down the Fishmen Island for me. Charlotte Nins stared at Chin Luo and roared wildly, and gave Capone Beige instructions with a smirk. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yes. Capone Beige nodded, and the artillery burst into the sky, and countless black and round shells came quickly and blasted towards the Fishmen Island overwhelmingly. It's really looking for death. Chin Luo stared at the front with interest, smiled, and the murderous intentions in his heart have been bursting. Suddenly, Chin Luo's smile solidified, and it was replaced by endless coldness. Suddenly, a powerful and unmatched pressure appeared on his body. Then, Chin Luo raised his right hand and expanded rapidly, and suddenly expanded to hundreds of times. The right hand obscured the sky and the sun, directly blocking the sky above the Fishmen Island, and all those shells blasted on Chin Luo's palm. Boom. 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 Advertisement. The shells fell quickly and exploded directly in Chin Luo's palm. The violent neck flew up, and a monstrous flame burned on Chin Luo's right hand. The damage caused did not cause any substantial damage to Chin Luo. Die. Chin Luo looked down at all this indifferently, too lazy to talk nonsense. The giant palm that covered the sky instantly jumped up. A flip set off a lot of air waves. In Charlotte Nins's shocked and horrified eyes, straight fall. Damn. Block it. Block me. Charlotte Nins was shocked and commanded Capone Beige in a panic. Capone Beige's face was heavy at this time, without saying a word, but furiously resisted, and a large number of forks, swords and halberds flew out of the door again, and flew toward the huge thick palm to resist it. Ding ding ding. Clang clang. There was a crisp sound, leaving no trace at all. On the contrary, Chin Luo's right hand was falling quickly. The palms are vast and heavy, like a mountain crushed, invisibly carrying a violent energy, instantly pressing on the castle. The castle that Capone Beige turned into was instantly vulnerable, like a tofu dregs, crushed directly. What? Capone Beige let out a miserable cry, and then the palm of his hand was crushed down, the castle collapsed, and amidst the roar, a large amount of fly ash rose into the sky, and invisible fluctuations spread all over the place. When the pirates who were not local residents saw Lu Yun's sharp and decisive crushing gesture, their eyes widened in disbelief. Guru. One of the pirates, seeing Lu Yun's overbearing and tough methods, suddenly rolled his throat and cold sweat broke out. Advertisement. This This is the ability of the god of flowing clouds. What a terrifying ability. This is simply too strong. Terrible. Countless pirates are trembling and can't help themselves. At this time, Shin Luo raised his huge palm and restored it to its original shape again. After that, everything under the palm of his hand was turned into fly ash, especially the castle, which had disappeared, replaced by Capone Bej's blood-dripping body of Puff. Capone Bej was lying on the ground. His lungs were shattered by the violent vibration, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and there was a look of horror in his eyes. Shin Luo's figure flashed, and he appeared directly beside Capone Bej, staring at Capone Bej coldly. Why mess in the Fishman Island? Capone Bej looked at the arrogant and indifferent figure, and the sense of fear in his heart had reached its peak. He trembled and said, "All of this is instructed by Charlotte Nins." Cough, cough, cough. It was all his instructions. Seeing where Capone Bej was pointing, Shin Luo swept away his eyes, and suddenly saw a boy covered in blood lying on the ground. Both of them were seriously injured. The only difference was that Capone Bej was about to die. Charlotte Nins was only badly injured. Charlotte. Shin Luo raised his eyebrows and said with a chuckle, "It turned out to be the Charlotte family. I said which pirate would dare to make trouble on the island I protect. Luyun, let us go, even if this matter is even. Otherwise, Charlotte Linlin will definitely not let you go." Capone Bej's eyes were panicked, threatening Luyun. "Capone Bej, what you think is too naive. Is Charlotte Linlin very strong? In my eyes, whoever provokes me will have to pay a price, even if it is as strong as Whitebeard. Roger and others are no exception. Dash 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 dash. Recommend my new book, Pirate God Alchemist, as absolutely amazing. Do not abuse the Lord. Guecho collect flowers for a reward. Please rest assured to collect. In addition, the new book recommended by my friend, the spokesperson of the Tomb Raider Ghost Emperor, is also wonderful. Guechi everything. Chapter 166. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Shin Luo spoke word by word, and Capone Bej felt the substantive killing intent on Luyun's body. The whole person was silent and panicked. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Capone Bej spit out blood, begging dyingly. Late. Shin Luo's eyes condensed, fingers like a sword, directly piercing Capone Bej's forehead, 2 fingers deeply inserted. Go in, and kill Capone Bej. Capone Bej took a final breath, and died in shock and fear. Bang. The corpse fell to the ground in a daze, and his body gradually stiffened. For a while, all the people on the Fishman Island held their breath, and the pirates were shocked. Killed. Just died just like that. When was Capone Bej so weak? He almost overturned the Fishman Island. It was so vulnerable. It's not that Capone Bej is weak, but Flowing Cloud God is too strong. The eyes of the people of the Fishman Island were full of worship. They looked at the tall and mighty figure in front of them, admiring them with great admiration. Advertisement. And the pirates were all gasped. Although they had heard Luyun's name, they still couldn't believe it after seeing Luyun severely wounded Capone Bej with his palm. Luyun's gaze swept over, and they all lowered their heads suddenly. Their eyes were full of jealousy, and they didn't dare to be presumptuous at all. If they offend Luyun unintentionally, they don't even know how to die. Shin Luo turned his head and scanned them one by one, and finally stopped on Tautu and Tsunade. Peach Rabbit, Tsunade, tell me how all this is caused. Shin Luo frowned slightly and said, "Okay." Tautu and Tsunade gently pressed their thin lips, and hurriedly walked to Shin Luo. "Master." Tsunade stood here and exclaimed respectfully. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Go ahead, what's going on? Master, the Fishman Island's business was very good today, but at this time, the pirate ship known as Big Mom sailed into the Fishman Island, and this Charlotte Nins wanted to beat the dragon people. And paid for it. Because of the fun of the fight, without Bailey, let your subordinates intercept and warn Charlotte Nins not to beat him anymore. After that, the Charlotte Nins beat angrily. Squid soldiers, and forcibly beat the dragon people, and even let his subordinate Capone Bej destroy this place. Tsunade finished speaking word by word, and then Chin Luo's eyes became cold. At the same time, Charlotte Nins, who was lying on the ground in a coma, slowly opened his eyes. He was already seriously injured at this moment, and a slight movement would pull on his wound, causing bursts of heart-piercing pain. What's going on? Charlotte Nins clutched Capone Bej's cold corpse in his right hand, watching it all with a gray face. Boy, are you from the Charlotte family? Chin Luo looked indifferently and swept towards Charlotte Nins. Advertisement. Flowing clouds. At this moment, Charlotte Nins was completely awake, and the characters in front of him were not something he could provoke. They turned their hands over the clouds and rain, and they were seriously injured by the palm of their hands. Luyun, let me go. I will let my mother pay you and pay you what you deserve. Charlotte Nins knelt in front of Chin Luo with lingering fear, begging for mercy like a pug. Pay me. What payment? Chin Luo looked down at the figure in front of him with interest and murmured. I assaulted the Tianlong people, and there was still some money that was not paid. I will pay you, and the houses destroyed by Capone Bej. I will compensate. Even the medical expenses of the Murlocs. I will also bear it alone. Oh, you are really a living bodhisattva. Then, do you know what is meant by paying debts, killing people and paying lives? Chin Luo raised his eyebrows lightly, and said in a low voice, an invisible murderous intent suddenly came from him. Broke out. Murder pays for life. Feeling the strong killing intent, Charlotte Nins's forehead was suddenly covered with cold sweat, and her body kept trembling. Yes, killing pays for life. How many people died in the Fishman Island? Can your life be offset? You can't do this. I'm Charlotte Nins. I'm the 138th son of Charlotte Linlin. You can't do this to me. No. You killed me. Mom will definitely not let you go. Charlotte Nins had already heard the killing intent in Luyun's language at this moment, and began to speak incoherently, and even finally threatened with Charlotte Linlin, the future 4 emperors. Are you threatening me? Chin Luo smiled indifferently, and said, Charlotte Linlin, I will personally find her in the future to ask for an explanation. But you should pay it back now. Chin Luo slapped him and took a picture. Tay Nins was slapped into the soil, with blood spurting from his mouth and weak breathing. Then, Chin Luo turned around and looked around, just in time to see the squid soldiers he sent to collect money lying on the ground. His face was blue and red, and he was obviously beaten a lot. You, come here. Chin Luo waved his hand and directly used gravity to pull the squid soldier over. Lu Yunshan. The squid soldier stood in front of Chin Luo shivering, lowered his head, not daring to speak. Advertisement. He hit you. Chin Luo pointed to Charlotte Nins on the ground. Yes, my lord. The squid soldier trembled and panicked. How he beats you, you can beat me back. Chin Luo's voice was cold and majestic. 0. This, my lord, is this really okay? The squid soldier was obviously flattered. How could he beat this kind of 20 million Bailey? And this guy is still a member of the Charlotte family, really won't be blamed after the fight. If you let you beat you, I will hold you back when the sky falls. Even if Charlotte Linlin provokes my people, I will seek justice for you. Chin Luo stared like a sword and said awe-inspiringly. Yes. The squid soldier shook all over, feeling a strong sense of security, and slammed a punch directly on Charlotte Nins's front door. FK. You. Damn. Let you hit me. There is an adult shelter today. How did you beat me? I'll fight back. The squid soldier fisted and whizzed, his tentacles all moved towards Charlotte Nins greeted the past. The fists roared like a gust of wind and rain, all accurately slammed on Charlotte Nins's body. Suddenly, Charlotte Nins convulsed and his face was extremely distorted. Asshole. I'm Charlotte Linlin's son. Humble Murloc. Don't let me escape. Let him escape. You the Fishman Island will surely perish. Mom will definitely not let you go. Damn it. Charlotte Nins's scarlet eyes burst into intense hatred, and between her teeth, blood came out of her mouth. Keep fighting. Chin Luo looked at Charlotte Nins indifferently. This kid is nothing more than a mad dog. He can't make any waves. As for Charlotte Linlin, before this woman comes, Chin Luo will go and look for her. The Trouble. Chapter 167. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In response to the order of the god of flowing clouds, the squid soldiers chose to obey for no reason, raised their tentacles high, and slammed them at Charlotte Nin's. Not long after, Charlotte Nin's body had already collapsed into a depression. His face was also bloody, and he vomited several mouthfuls of blood. Damn. Luyun, mother will definitely not let you go. Charlotte Nin screamed feebly. His eyes were resentful, and then his eyes began to fade, and his body became weaker and weaker. Luyunshan, he was about to be beaten to death by me. The squid soldier seemed to be angry enough. After dozens of punches, he wiped his sweat and retreated to Qin Luo with a respectful expression. Well, you step back. Qin Luo waved his hand lightly and signaled the squid soldier to go down, but the squid soldier did not dare to violate Qin Luo's order, lowered his head, and quickly retreated. At this time, Qin Luo looked up and scanned the entire the Fishmen Island, whether it was the people on the Fishmen Island, the foreign residents, or the overbearing pirates. All were swept by Qin Luo's eyes. The eyes of countless pairs condensed together, they looked at Luyun God, not knowing what Luyun was planning. This is where I am sheltered by flowing clouds. Anyone who breaks the rules here will be severely punished, and Capone Bej destroyed the Fishmen Island and massacred my people of the Fishmen Island, making my people of the Fishmen Island panic. This sun has now been obliterated by me. There is no Capone Bej in this world. And as the promoter behind the whole thing, Charlotte Nin's also needs blood to pay for it. At this moment, Qin Luo's head was lowered, and his cold eyes swept towards Charlotte Nin's, who was almost dying, and then quickly extended his right hand, grabbing Charlotte Nin's in his hand, suddenly, lifting it up high. Due to the brutal force, Charlotte Nin's sprayed a few more blood, and the whole person was already unconscious. However, now Qin Luo doesn't care if Charlotte Ning's has or even thoughts. In this way, under countless pairs of hot and horrified eyes, Charlotte Ning's body was picked up high and appeared to everyone. Before. Advertisement. Luyun. What is God going to do? A pirate gasped, feeling that Charlotte Nin's was about to die. This kid is dead. The god of flowing clouds has already moved to kill. That's not necessarily true. Behind Charlotte Nin's is Big Mom. Luyun and Big Mom are strong and weak. It's not clear yet. Indeed, Big Mom has Thundercloud Zeus in his left hand and Anderson Prometheus in his right hand. The weather can be controlled at will. Storms and lightning are also a minor problem. Even if you inject your soul into the dark clouds, you can give orders. Leyun, the ability can be called heaven-defying. I just don't know, Luyun God or Big Mom, who is better? Another pirate sighed for a while, as if he was a little uncertain. Just as everyone was guessing wildly, Qin Luo slowly forced his right hand, stretched out a finger with his left hand, and swiped towards Charlotte Nin's. Water blade. The words fell, and a shock wave that was as sharp as a thin line suddenly swept towards Charlotte Nin's. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. And Charlotte Nin's head, also under countless pairs of shocked eyes, chuckled and fell to the ground. Charlotte Nin's, die. The head fell, and the entire the Fishmen Island was suddenly silent. Countless pairs of pupils were staring at the center of the Fishmen Island, the tall figure. For a time, the silence here was terrible. Wow. Advertisement. The short silence was broken by countless people in an instant. There was cheers on the Fishmen Island, especially the people whose family members died, and they cried loudly. God. God killed Charlotte Nin's son. Your revenge is avenged. Oh. God. Thank you for avenging the Fishmen Island. Luyun. Is this Luyun? Act decisively. Old Spicy. Even Big Mom don't take it seriously. Guru. A pirate's throat rolled and he was shocked and unable to speak. It's not that they were shocked by killing a Charlotte Nin's pirate. What they were shocked was the decisiveness of the god of flowing cloud and hockey, who didn't put the Charlotte family in their eyes at all. Pirates as strong as 4 or 5 billion dared not to slaughter the Charlotte family members so lightly. They were afraid of the character Charlotte Linlin, a disastrous figure, and this time Charlotte Nin's death, it is also one of the few incidents. Dare to provoke the Big Mom pirates. This is no different from looking for death. But Lu Yunshen is so easy, as if he didn't take this matter to heart. Easy. It really is a god. Lu Yun. I really admire it. If I can be protected by the god of flowing clouds, will I still run rampant in the world? Advertisement. No, I want to join the Fishman Island. This is simply a paradise. After this time, who would dare to make trouble in the Fishman Island? For a time, the pirates were in a state of turmoil, and they all worshipped Lu Yun endlessly. At this moment, Lu Yun's gaze was indifferent, looking at the expressions of the pirates. The corners of his mouth were slightly cocked. The purpose of his shot this time was to shock. He once also set 3 rules, but these 3 rules were also without any substantive deterrence. Although the world government was destroyed and 5 elders were killed, they still came to the Fishman Island to make trouble. After this time, the pirates directly let the pirates see him that Lu Yun killed 2 great pirates. One of them was the son of Big Mom. If this incident were to spread out, it would have a very good deterrent effect. The bloody reality that was obliterated in the Fishman Island is here. If the pirates want to move crooked thoughts, they need to bear Lu Yun's anger. Qin Luo looked at the 2 corpses on the ground, and directly exchanged 10 points for 2 mysterious substances that kept the 2 of them looking forever. Then, Qin Luo spilled this substance on Capone Beige and Charlotte Nins. After doing all this, Qin Luo made a move with his right hand, and the huge boulder engraved with 3 rules roared and appeared directly in front of Qin Luo under the shaking. Then, Qin Luo waved his sleeve, and the nicks on it disappeared immediately. Qin Luo 0.4 again hung the bodies of the 2 people on the boulder with 1 arm, and the whole boulder stood again in the most conspicuous place. The only difference is that there are now 2 more cold corpses, one is Charlotte Nins, and the other is Capone Beige. Now the corpse of Big Mom's son was made into a human specimen by Qin Luo. Tied to the boulder. This is a kind of shock, to warn those pirates. Just enter the Fishman Island. Follow the rules. Whoever violated it. The 2 dead bodies on the boulder are a living warning. Qin Luo didn't care about the shocked gazes of the pirates. At this time, his eyes turned into lavender, and circles of lines appeared, and they were a pair of Rinnegan. Round revolving heaven technique. Suddenly, Qin Luo stood in the void, and green rays of light appeared on his body, which quickly rushed out, and then spread to the entire the Fishman Island. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 168. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. His eyes were unpredictable, and a strange energy wave quickly swept out. A faint fluorescent green emerged from Qin Luo, and then ascended into the void. At the top of the Fishman Island, bursts of extremely strong fluorescent green light exploded quickly, and then turned into countless tiny channels resembling micro. The fluorescent green of the dust fell down like rain, moisturizing the entire the Fishman Island. Under countless pairs of dull eyes, the light green light penetrated into the skin of the injured pirates on the Fishman Island. In a flash, a piece of green light shone from the countless pirates. The wounds on those murlocs also healed quickly under this weird situation, just like going back in time, returning to their original state. What's more terrifying is that these pale green fluorescent dusts are contaminated to the dead thoroughly. On the people of the Fishman Island, the dead bodies were resurrected again. Even the torn apart bodies that were bombarded by artillery fire slowly moved and spliced, and finally 14 slowly joined together to form a complete body, and then, under the horrified eyes of everyone, slowly repairing the damage. What is this ability? A captain of the Lion Pirate group was shocked, and the boss with eyes the size of a copper bell was shocked by Lu Yunshen's methods. My wound is healed. A citizen of the Fishman Island stared at his right arm, and the shocking wound disappeared, revealing his skin intact. This strange scene scared the people of the Fishman Island unable to speak. Child, my child, are you alive? Are you alive? A mother on the Fishman Island, who was holding her child less than 5 years old and crying, noticed a squirming in her arms. This mother saw her child who had died out of anger, but jumped alive in her arms. Advertisement. Such scenes were staged everywhere in the Fishman Island, and countless people of the Fishman Island were extremely shocked. They all looked at the weird scenes in front of them in disbelief. Mom. A child was resurrected, and got into the arms of a mother alive, and the two mothers and daughters cried pear flowers with rain. Child, it's okay. You are alive again. This must be the supernatural power of Master Luyun. Guru. There are countless pirates staring at each other. They will not believe the idea of resurrection from the dead. Apart from the ability of the soul and soul fruit of Big Mom, there are only those who manipulate the shadows of others, the future. One of Shichibukai, Gecko Moria. The abilities of the two of them all rely on devil fruit to bring people back to life, could it? Luyun God is also one of the mysterious demon fruit power. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If this is the case, then what devil fruit Luyun God eats is unknown to others. They don't even have any clue. The soul fruit of Big Mom has the same limitations as Gecko Moria's abilities. It is impossible to reconsolidate the people who burst into powder. Although the two of them can bring people back to life, it is also under the condition of having a body. Just now Capone Beige bombarded the Fishman Island directly. There were countless murlocs who died under the shells, and dozens of them were powdered by shells. Just under this large-scale casualties, Yunshen even used a secret technique to resurrect those who turned into ashes to the point of being intact again. This is enough to explain the horror of Luyun God. Advertisement. What a terrible secret technique. How did this happen? Luyunshen is really powerful. Even better than Big Mom. This Charlotte family is going to suffer. It even offends the god of flowing clouds. Big Mom can be regarded as provoking a super existence. Who can blame this? Who makes Big Mom's sons so many? This time Luyunshen will definitely not let it go. All the pirates looked astonished, staring at the slender figure in front of him, exuding Luyun God with indifferent and arrogant temperament. This is the revolving heaven technique. Tsunade is very familiar with Naruto's Rinnegan of Nagato. At first, Pen's 6 ways destroyed Konoha under the control of Nagato. Then, under the persuasion of Naruto's mouth, Nagato saw the hope of the future again, so he only used it. Once the round of revolving heaven gave birth to the technique, resurrecting the dead Konoha, to compensate for the destruction of Konoha. It's just that this secret technique can only resurrect people, and it has no effect on destroyed buildings. Master, do you have Rinnegan? Tsunade walked to Chin Luo and asked in a low voice. Well, if there is no Rinnegan, how can I perform this round of revolving heaven technique? Chin Luo's voice slowly passed out. Advertisement. Master, this Rinnegan needs to be evolved from Sharingan. You are not from the Uchiha clan. Why do you have this kind of eyes? Could it be that you have transplanted this kind of eyes? No. Chin Luo spoke calmly, and then he kept silent. Only Tsunade was entangled in the same place. When it was impossible to communicate, Tsunade didn't bother to think about it. This method, really powerful. Fisher Tiger was stunned, watching the wound on his arm heal, very surprised. Jinbei was also surprised. This energy 590 can not only repair wounds, but also replenish vitality. Now under the light green fluorescent particles, his malaise and exhaustion swept away in an instant, and his whole person was 100 times more refined. Master Luyun is really amazing. Since he came to the Fishman Island, he not only abolished the discriminatory system that discriminated against the world ZF, but also made the people of the Fishman Island equal to the people in this world. Master Luyun is more than 100 times stronger than King Neptune. This king should be the god of flowing cloud. Aaron was full of worship and said the truth. Aaron, don't be unreasonable. The king has his own abilities, and the king has also put a lot of effort into taking charge of the Fishman Island. Fisher Tiger frowned slightly, reprimanding Aaron. Brother, the former Neptune was just a waste of wood. If there is no floating cloud god to come to the Fishman Island, this King Neptune will definitely be a prisoner. Where is his throne? Floating cloud god is here. Our life on the Fishman Island is getting better. Everything that the god of flowing cloud has done is much better than the king. Shut up. Fisher Tiger severely criticized, staring at Aaron fiercely. Although Fisher Tiger also agreed with Aaron's words, as a courtier, he said bad things about the king. Cannot be done. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Report. 22%. Chapter 169. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Brother, Aaron is right. These are all the credit of the god of flowing clouds. Otherwise, what kind of disaster we will face in the Fishman Island? The future seaman Jinbei also agreed with Aaron's words. For the first time, the two are standing on the same line. Yeah, Jinbei, when did you agree with my point of view? The sun is about to hit the west and come out. Along embraced his arms and looked at Jinbei with interest. HMPH, the old man is just telling the truth. If Flowing Cloud God needs a partner, I will definitely be the first to join. Save it. How can I wait for the pirate group of the Flowing Cloud God to be able to enter? Okay. Fisher Tiger interrupted the quarrel between the two, and then said, no matter what, as long as it is the will of God of Flowing Clouds, I will resolutely obey in the future. If God of Flowing Clouds does not let me wait to join the Pirates of Flowing Clouds group, I will form a pirate group myself and become an affiliated group of the Luyun Pirate Group. This way, shall we enter the Luyun God's command? Brother's suggestion is good. Then let me take the name of this pirate group. It's called God's Affiliated Pirate Group. How about it? Jinbei's eyes were fierce, and he was the first to comment. Cut. It's awkward. Aaron counted his middle fingers with disdain, and then said under Jinbei's constantly cloudy expression, it should be called the Liutian Pirate Group. Or the Cloud God Pirate Group. It's all ugly. In my opinion, it's called the Pirates of the Sun. The Pirates of the Sun. Jinbei frowned with Aaron. What is this Pirates of the Sun? The Pirates of the Sun. As the name suggests, the pirates shrouded by the sun. And this sun is our Lord Luyun. As long as there is a God, there is a sun. He will show us the direction. Light up all darkness. Under the protection of the sun. We are fearless. Fisher Tiger is full of pride, and in the same way, he has become a fan of Luyun God. The Pirates of the Sun. Indeed, it's okay. Well, I agree with the name of Big Brother. Advertisement. Just when everyone was shocked by Luyun God's heaven-defying method, suddenly, there was a familiar voice. Blubblublu. Blubblublu. The voice of the phone worm came out on the Fishman Island, and the voice was so clear that it was difficult to conceal the slightest even in the lively crowd. Chin Luo noticed the sound, then raised his brows and swept towards Charlotte Nins, who had died in anger. Although Chin Luo used the revolving heaven technique, he did not resurrect this Charlotte's son. After all, this guy committed a heinous crime and executed him. It is already cheap for him. The voice of the phone worm came from Charlotte Nings's body. Chin Luo's figure flashed and disappeared in place. When he appeared, he was already standing next to Charlotte Nings. The thief and the people of the Fishman Island looked dumbfounded, looking at the figure of Luyun God, their eyes full of doubt. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Universal pull. The corner of Chin Luo's mouth lightly opened, and his right hand grabbed the void. Suddenly, a slightly stronger attraction was released from Chin Luo's hand. Then, Charlotte Nins's clothes sighed and torn, and then, the phone worm flew into Chin Luo's hands. Telephone bug. Who called? At this moment, the sharp-eyed pirate asked after seeing what was in Luyunshan's hand. This phone worm belongs to Charlotte Nins, who knows who called. There are different opinions, but Chin Luo didn't have too much guessing, and directly connected to the phone. Son, where are you? Is that the Fishman Island really rich in desserts? Advertisement. There was an unpleasant and harsh sound from the phone worm, and the laughter of the woman inside was creepy. Oh, it turned out to be Big Mom. Chin Luo was overjoyed after hearing this familiar voice. Zheng Cho couldn't get in touch with this Big Mom. I didn't expect this guy to call this Big Mom. Huh, who are you? Where's my son Charlotte Nins? Big Mom was silent for a moment, and asked in a cold voice. Is your son Charlotte Nins? He has been killed by me. Killed to death. After Big Mom heard the words, there was a sharp and piercing laughter. The sound was so penetrating that some pirates couldn't help frowning. My old mother. My sons are gold ingots. You alone can dare to kill my son. Whitebeard doesn't dare to have the guts of you. Kid, say, where is my son? As for Chin Luo's words, Charlotte Linlin obviously would not believe that, although her son is not as noble as the celestial dragon, he is also a wild existence on the sea, and generally weak pirates don't dare to be presumptuous at all. Today I heard that her son was killed by others. This is the best joke Charlotte Linlin heard. Yeah, it seems that you don't believe it very much. Chin Luo pretended to helplessly hold his head, somewhat helpless. Boy, where is my son? Let him come out to answer the phone. Charlotte Linlin's voice became strangely cold, and her tone was full of commands, as if the king commanded his courtiers. Big Mom, I have said it again, your son, Charlotte Nins, has been killed by me. It is now hanging over the Fishman Island, believe it or not, take a look for yourself, don't you know? By the way, I would like to remind you that next time you'd better come in person, otherwise, I can't guarantee that your son will not be beaten to death by me again. Asshole. Did you really kill the old mother's son? Didn't Capone Beige protect the old mother's son? Advertisement. Suddenly, Charlotte Linlin's extremely angry voice came from the phone worm, a sharp and harsh voice, directly transmitted far away, and entered the ears of countless pirates, changing their expressions. Even the people of the Fishman Island are panicked and a little upset. Big Mom is a new force known as the New World. The number of Big Mom pirates is extremely terrifying. All of this is due to Charlotte Linlin's corrupt life, which gave birth to more than 200 children, including 150 boys. There are more than 50 girls, and Charlotte Linlin also allows her children to marry other families, forming a super alliance similar to the nature of the alliance. The number of the entire Big Mom pirate group has even surpassed the current Whitebeard pirate group. If this Big Mom pirate group angers the Fishman Island, the consequences are also extremely terrible. Big Mom, you are still as irritable as you always have, and my ears are numb. Capone Beige. He also died with your son, telling you that your son was tortured to death by me. If nothing happens, I will hang up first. Asshole. Before the curse was over, Chin Luo decisively hung up the call of Big Mom. Charlotte Linlin was bound to come to provoke Chin Luo in the future. Chin Luo couldn't understand this. Anyway, he is tyrannical, what else is he afraid of? If this Big Mom died down and didn't come to provoke Chin Luo, then Chin Luo would definitely hit the door by himself. Dash 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 dash. Recommend my new book, Pirate God Alchemist. Close black lens bracket. We must beg for a wave. Today, it will be 30,000 words. Already fat. The old iron gate can be opened. There are a few more copies left, and they will be sent out tomorrow. The new book Guicho, A Wave of Support. Chapter 170. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Guru. The pirates standing on the Fishman Island rolled their throats in surprise and were shocked. Hang up. Hung up. Hung up Big Mom's call. A pirate stammered in surprise. He didn't expect Luyun God to give Big Mom face so much. Even on the phone, Luyun God's the tone and attitude are very tough, and I am not afraid to provoke the horrible existence of Big Mom. It's over. This time I must have completely offended Big Mom. This terrifying existence will definitely be immortal with Luyun God. Sure. This is Big Mom, she has already established a fierce reputation in New World, who dares to provoke her? Hey. For a time, the pirates had different opinions, and while they were shocked by Luyunshan's strong attitude, they were more worried about the future of the Fishman Island. At the same time, at a place far away from the Fishman Island, Cake Island, an unusually huge room, it was quite dark, except for a few dim candles hanging on the wall, there was no light. And just in this big room, there is an extraordinary big round table. On the table, there are all kinds of desserts, and beside the table, there is also a huge chair of 983. There was a person sitting on the top. This person was huge, countless times more than normal. At this moment, this person is opening his mouth with corrosive saliva dripping from the corners of his mouth, holding the cake on the table with his huge palms, madly scent in the mouth. This person is one of the 4 emperors of the future. Advertisement. Big Mom. And beside Big Mom, a girl who was probably a teenager stood there, watching Big Mom gobbling down. Mom, the phone is hung up. A hint of anger appeared on the girl's delicate face and said to Big Mom. What? Hung up? Big Mom stopped his movements when he heard the words, and said angrily. Continue to fight. Mother, I want to ask. Charlotte Linlin moved for a while, frowning and issuing orders. Yes, Mom. The girl nodded, tapped her finger, and then continued to dial. Hey, I said you are annoying. Didn't I tell you? Charlotte Nins has been killed by me. Chin Luo's lazy and unhappy words came into Charlotte Linlin's ears. Upon hearing this, Charlotte Linlin's eyes were sharp, her mouth was open, showing a row of terrifying teeth. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Boy, what's your name? Those who dare to talk to me like this, apart from Whitebeard and Roger, there is only Golden Lion left. You are the first to dare to be presumptuous in front of me. Even the kid who hangs up my phone. My celebrity goes. I am the patron god of the Fishmen Island. If you want revenge, you are here. Chin Luo replied calmly, with a plain tone, without paying attention to Charlotte Linlin at all. Okay, kid, you are waiting for my old lady's army to destroy the Fishmen Island. My old lady will ask you one last question. The Fishmen Island, is it rich in desserts? Exactly. You want to eat, even if you come and get it. Of course, if you can get it. If you dare not come, then wait for me to come and kill you. Chin Luo sneered, he has already done so. Set. I plan to let this Charlotte Linlin throw himself into the net. Advertisement. Hearing that, Charlotte Linlin's original fierce eyes suddenly shot a bloody color, and immediately raised his big mouth, making a harsh laugh. Asshole. It's terrible, damn it. After a harsh laugh from the phone bug, Chin Luo frowned and cursed, then hung up the phone again. Doo-doo-doo. Mom, hung up again. For the little girl's answer, Charlotte didn't pay any attention to it, but was immersed in the desserts of the Fishmen Island. Everyone says that the desserts of the Fishmen Island are the best. I must try it myself, my old lady. Marina, order to go down, sort out the battleship, and drive to the Fishmen Island. This time, I want to smooth the whole of the Fishmen Island. Yes, Mom. Regarding Charlotte Linlin's order, Marina did not dare to resist at all, nodded and hurriedly stepped back. Desserts, all belong to me. Hey, the Fishmen Island will be owned by my Big Mom pirate group from now on. What a cloud. I make you a dead cloud. Charlotte Linlin's huge and ugly a brutal color broke out on his face, and the cold laughter spread far. She sent Charlotte Nins to the Fishmen Island this time, just to get the information on whether the Fishmen Island has desserts, and even Charlotte Linlin gave her 300 million Baileys as a kid, planning to buy some back. If it is delicious, Charlotte Linlin will set off to occupy the Fishmen Island. Charlotte Linlin doesn't think much about Charlotte Nins's death. There are dozens of her sons, and one son died in a mere way. This didn't disturb Charlotte Linlin's mind at all. Chin Luo hung up the phone, and then slowly turned and left. The crowds of the Fishmen Island and the pirates on the sidelines immediately gave up a path when they saw this, staring at their patron Saint Lu in shock and admiration. Yun Shen. Advertisement. Originally, they thought that Big Mom, one of the future 4 emperors, was so powerful that they could not be offended. Therefore, even if her people do the best in the Fishmen Island, the people of the Fishmen Island will be afraid of Charlotte Linlin and swallow their voices. But now I see the scene in front of me and hear the unruly conversation between Lu Yun-God and Big Mom. Although the hearts of the people of the Fishmen Island still have a trace of fear for Big Mom, they are in the strong shelter of Lu Yun-God. Next, even this fear has turned into a fan. As long as the god of flowing clouds shelters the Fishmen Island for one day, they will not be slaughtered for one day. Flowing cloud god. The Murlocs and the mermaids watched the gods in their hearts pass by. The worship in their eyes had already overflowed, and they shouted in joy at the same time. Flowing cloud god. More and more people yelled out, and the surging crowd kept repeating this name, the name of their patron saint. The discrimination and suppression, enslavement and harm suffered by Murlocs and mermaids for thousands of years, their dignity has long since disappeared in the long oppression, but at this moment, everything is different. It's time to let the world see the power of the Fishman Island in this chaotic era of pirates. Qin Luo heard the crowd calling his name, but only slightly nodded and waved his hand indifferently. Because of his heaven-defying power, defeating this Charlotte Linksee was simply expected, and he hadn't paid attention to such a small role. His real goal is one of the future 4 emperors, Charlotte Linlin. With the words on the phone just now, Qin Luo is definitely not just bluffing. Before she can find himself, he will trouble her. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 171. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. A gorgeous pirate ship docked here quietly at sea, and everyone on the deck was more or less sleepy because of the salty sea breeze. Have you heard that Dad is going to take the guy Marco to go to the Fishman Island? A pirate wearing a red silk scarf took a sip of the rum in his hand, and said to a one-eyed pirate with a dignified expression on his face. Could it be that something couldn't happen, and a team of captains should be sent over? The pirate in the red silk scarf sneered, and said somewhat proudly, "This is what I found after a lot of effort. Don't tell anyone." After a pause, the red silk scarf pirate slowly said, "You should have heard, the Fishman Island is now protected by flowing clouds." The one-eyed pirate nodded. This incident is widely reported in the world, but not many people take it to heart. A guy who popped up suddenly claimed to protect the Fishman Island, which is like a fantasy, even though even a strong man like the old man has to think about it. After all, this is going to be against the world ZF. Hey, this is not the key. The key is the subsequent events that surprised the old man. The silk scarf pirate said, "Do you know that there is a business in the Fishman Island that is particularly popular?" The one-eyed pirate pondered for a while, and said with some uncertainty, "You are referring to the business of assaulting the dragons for a fee, but I heard that those dragons are fake." The Fishman Island randomly found a few more similar in appearance. Guy. Advertisement. Hey, maybe that might be. However, at this time in the ship's conference room, several people were sitting at the large conference table discussing some unknown secrets. "Marco, is your news sure? The guy Big Mom really sent someone to the Fishman Island?" Whitebeard said cautiously. After wandering in the sea for so many years, Whitebeard really dared to say who he was afraid of, but there are a lot of headaches that make him feel bad, including Big Mom. The Phoenix Marco nodded earnestly. "Father, although I don't know what Big Mom did in the Fishman Island, but the people who rumored her to have gone, and also broke out of the basket in the Fishman Island. I was suppressed by Luyun. Know that it is a barren land. Although the scenery is good, all kinds of darkness can be seen everywhere. Know that there is the infamous Murloc Street. Regarding the rumors of Murloc Street, Whitebeard is not unheard of. It is just a group of hooligans. He is not strong, but has unrealistic ambitions. I have to admit that some people do daydreaming quite well. Nice. Let's not talk about this. I guess that Big Mom went to the Fishman Island for 2 purposes. One is to rob the delicious cakes on the Fishman Island, and the other is to see the legendary beating the dragon business. Whitebeard he sank and said slowly, "Marco, I will send you a trip to the Fishman Island to see if there is anything like this there. By the way, try not to deal with the people on the Big Mom during the period. Get in trouble, that crazy woman." Thinking of the appearance of Big Mom, Whitebeard felt uncomfortable in his heart. The world is so big that it is so strange. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Marco also knows that Dad doesn't want to get too involved with Big Mom. Although Big Mom has never played against him, this is a very tricky person. The boundaries are very clear, and no one can easily cross the line. This time Big Mom sent Charlotte Nins and Capone Beige to the Fishman Island. Hearing from the pirates, they all seemed to be killed by Luyun. When Marco first heard Nins, there was a sneer from the corner of his mouth. Although this guy is known as a big pirate of tens of millions, but celebrities don't speak secret words, and at his level, 1 million Bailey is regarded as a high regard for him. But when he heard the name of Bej, Marco's brows frowned slightly. This guy is quite tricky, and he is also the number one under Big Mom. It's no exaggeration to say that you fight with this guy. I really didn't dare to say that there was a chance of winning. I didn't expect that it was rumored that this person was killed by Luyun, and I didn't know if it was true or not. Advertisement. Marco didn't think much about it at the beginning. He found the information and felt it was important, so he hurried back to report it, and he didn't do the remaining tasks. Okay. Let's not talk too much nonsense. Hurry up and get on the road. Let's check for information. This time, I want you to see the information that is believable. When necessary, go to the Fishman Island with a phone worm. Isn't it exhausting for you to run back and forth like this? Hearing the words, Marco scratched his head awkwardly, whispered, turned and walked out. Captain, can we go to the Fishman Island this time? Can we have a good time? Brothers haven't relaxed for a long time, they are all suffocated. On the huge ship that cuts the wind and the waves, a thin man with a sharp-mouthed monkey cheek is talking to Marco with a smirk. From time to time there is a lustful light in his narrow eyes. Marco uses his toes to think that this guy's head is thinking. What? Originally Marco wanted to refuse, but suddenly remembered that his brother on the boat seemed to have not relaxed for a long time, and had been training for some time recently. Luaka, it's okay to play, but not too much. Marco pondered for a while, and said quietly, people, who hasn't had the emotions and desires, should relax when it is time to relax, and it is not one that has been tight. Method. The thin man, Luo Cha, heard the captain agree, and the bumps on his face were shaking with excitement. It can be seen that this guy is really happy. To be honest, Marco also wants to relax his nerves. Recently, there have been so many things happening in the world, which made him a little burnt. The mermaid lady on the Fishman Island should be quite good, used to relieve stress, too it's perfect. 0. Advertisement. The speed of the boat was very fast, and Marco took a shortcut, and it didn't take long for the boat to reach the sea directly above the Fishman Island. Hiss. What is this? Luaka couldn't help taking a breath when he saw the huge tunnel on the sea. Not only was Loka scared, Marco was also stunned by the magnificent tunnel, and he hadn't spoken for a long time. Is it true that the rumors are true? Marco thought to himself. The most rumored one in New World recently is that Luyun dug 2 huge tunnels in the Fishman Island to facilitate communication with the outside world. At the time, Marco thought this was just a joke, or that Luyun himself deliberately exaggerated it. Publicity. But when he saw these 2 extremely real tunnels, Marco realized that he really underestimated the hero of the world. Let's go. Since it's here, there is no reason not to look at it. Marco calmed his mind and ordered. Luaka opened his mouth, wanting to say that since Luyun can dig a tunnel of this scale, he should have captured a few Tianlong people with his hands. Let's just go back. It should be okay to explain it to the old man. Yes, if you encounter that legendary Luyun, you will certainly not get any benefit from your party. As for the mundane affair of finding a few mermaid ladies to relax, Luaka himself didn't know when he would be out of the sky. But when Luaka saw Marco's black face, he couldn't open his mouth. He knew that once Marco made a decision, the 9 cows would not be able to pull back. Thinking of this, he had to sigh and turn his head. Instructed everyone to sail away. Chapter 172. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Following the huge tunnel, Marco and his team finally came to the Fishman Island 10,000 meters below the sea. Captain, look, isn't that a big mom ship? Luaka's small eyes could see several pirate boats docked in a corner of the dock, with the Big Mom logo on them. Marco looked in the direction of Luaka's finger, and he couldn't help being surprised. He was not surprised that Big Mom's boats were docked here. What was surprised was that these boats were intact. What does this show? This can only show that Charlotte Nins has successfully landed ashore and is progressing smoothly. If you continue to think about it, Luyun is not as strong as the legendary one. Thinking of this, a trace of disappointment appeared on Marco's face. It seemed that Capone Bej had taken care of the excessive flowing cloud. A group of people wandered the streets of the Fishman Island, but they didn't get any strange eyes, as if they were not a vicious pirate, but a harmless baby. The atmosphere is a bit wrong, Captain. Luaka walked quickly to Marco's eyes and whispered. Did you notice it? Marco couldn't help but wonder. The people here seem to be not afraid of pirates at all, and along the way, have you also met a lot of guys who are more famous in New World? Luo Cha thought about it for a while, and said with some surprise. Hey, when you say that, I really think of a few. Although the bounty is only a little over 100 million, it should be possible to walk sideways in the Fishman Island. But what's strange is that the guys who are usually arrogant are actually very honest, and it can be said that they are obedient. Advertisement. Marco's heart sank, and this was exactly what made him feel incredible. He knows where the Fishman Island is. Although he has a great reputation, he doesn't have much strength, and he can be rounded and flattened by two people. After walking for a while, Marco stopped in front of a pile of collapsed buildings with a heavy look on his face. FK, Captain, has there been an earthquake just now? So many buildings have collapsed. Luo Cha exclaimed. Idiot. Marco cursed secretly in his heart. Thanks to your idea, would it really be like this if an earthquake occurs? You don't open your dog's eyes to see clearly. All of these are obviously destroyed by humans, and many of them are destroyed by humans. Caused by artillery bombing. It seems that a fierce battle occurred here not long ago. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Marco's heart sank, and the doubts in his heart became bigger and bigger. There is no doubt that Luyun, the so-called protection god of the Fishman Island, fought with the guy sent by Big Mom. The appearance of this bombing happened to be the same as that of Bej. The abilities of the damn it guys are similar. But who won the battle? If it is said that the Big Moms won, how could the people on the island be so peaceful and still do their own things? But if Luyun won, then what about the few intact pirate ships at the dock? Explanation. However, just when Marco was stunned, a scream of horror suddenly came from his ear. If it weren't for the sound source to be very close to him, he could not even believe that such a sharp sound was made by the great master Luaka. Don't you feel ashamed? As soon as Marco wanted to speak out, he saw Luaka staring in one direction with horror, and his eyes were about to protrude. Advertisement. Luaka, what are you doing so surprised? Pay attention to your image, maybe the Big Mom is right by your side. If you spread out in such a shameful manner, don't you want the name of the old man? Marco give a cold drink. But Luaka didn't seem to hear Marco's words at all, and his eyes were still staring straight in that direction, and his body trembled uncontrollably, astonished to the extreme. Marco frowned, and his heart became sulking. What is so beautiful that he didn't even listen to me? Team. Captain, have my eyes gone? Are the two people hanging on them Charlotte Nins and Capone Bej? Luaka seemed to have lost his soul. Using a kind of inaudible the voice said, fortunately Marco was standing next to him, otherwise I really couldn't hear what this guy was talking about. Two people hanging. Nins. Bej. Marco was a little confused by Rocha, and looked curiously in that direction. Hiss. Marco shook his whole body, his anger disappeared in an instant, and he finally understood why Luaka was so gaff. Not far from the two people, it was the place where the Tianlongren were beaten, but not far away there was a huge boulder standing on top of the sky. I don't know what material it was made of, but the heavy feeling came to my face. On the boulder, a line of dragon and phoenix handwriting is spread on it, as if it were natural. But the most surprising thing is not the daunting boulder, but the two people hanging on it. Marco rubbed his eyes in disbelief, and the two familiar face plates were still imprinted in his sight. Captain, are all the Big Moms dead? Luaka swallowed hard, and asked carefully. After speaking, he took a look at Bej's corpse. At this time, there was a huge wave in Luaka's heart. That was Bej, the famous pillar of Big Mom, was killed on such a small the Fishman Island. Advertisement. For a moment, Luo Cha began to think about whether his party could leave this ghost place alive. But fortunately, Marco is a person who has seen the world before. He woke up immediately after being absent for a while. The recalcitrance on his face disappeared. He is also a little drumming in his heart. Should he continue to explore? If Luyun is that the mysterious guy suddenly appeared, what should I do? For his own life, Marco cautiously pulled a pirate he was familiar with and asked him. When he knew what had happened in this place not long ago, even his breathing became a little abnormal. How could this be possible? The beige of the restless party was resolved with a wave of hands, and there was a secret method that could bring the dead back to life. Everything seemed so incredible to Marco. For a while, he didn't even have the thought to continue to inquire. This guy named Luyun was really terrifying. 5.6. After figuring it out, Marco couldn't wait to get in touch with his father using a phone worm, and recounted the news he had just received. On the phone worm, Whitebeard was silent for a while without speaking. It seems that Luyun really has two things. He is so courageous that he dared to challenge Big Mom. My curiosity about this guy is really growing. Okay, now that I know everything, you don't have to stay there anymore, come back for now. Hearing what the old man said, Marco didn't know why he felt so much lighter in his heart, so after hanging up the phone bug, he waved his hand and left the place that made his heart uneasy without looking back. However, at the same time, Big Mom has sent 2 admiral to lead 10 pirate ships with sufficient ammunition to drive to the Fishmen Island with all their strength, and a bloody storm is about to come. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 173. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Qin Luo showed deep thought. He is not in a hurry to reach the full level. First ask clearly before speaking. Don't be a garbage full level, then you will lose out. Swallow the full level, is it to be promoted? Swallow full level. Upon hearing this, Qin Luo couldn't help but stunned. What is the ability to swallow the full level? Swallowing the full level, swallowing everything, is similar to the principle of black holes, but there is a super metamorphosis technique for swallowing the full level, which can swallow the pirate world demon fruit power and swallow their fruits. What? Swallow their fruits? Hearing this, based on Qin Luo's qualitative character, Rao couldn't help feeling horrified. If the fruit was swallowed, the demon fruit power would no longer exist. System. Can I swallow 5 elders' devil fruit? The devil fruit of 5 elders is the fruit of life. If they swallow their fruit, it will be very abnormal. Can. Awesome. At the full level, I will step into the Holy Land now and kill 5 elders directly. Qin Luo leapt up and looked excited. Advertisement. Wait. Host. If you swallow the super devil fruit at full level, it will consume points, swallow it once, and consume 100,000 points. What? It consumes 50,000 points. Qin Luo's eyes widened. This is a robbery, how could it be so expensive? Just now I said that you can directly overwhelm 5 elders and completely rule the world. I didn't expect that one swallowing would consume 100,000 points, paralyze. This is 100,000 points. Is it true that the points are made of water? Now Qin Luo is struggling, is he upgrading or not? If you don't upgrade and swallow the full level, you will have nothing to do with the 5 elders. If you upgrade and swallow the full level, this thing will cost Qin Luo a lot of points. For a time, Qin Luo is in entanglement. Remind host, whether to improve. Remind host, whether to improve. Remind host, whether to improve. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Warning, warning, warning. Improve. Qin Luo gritted his teeth, stomped his feet, breathed fire in his eyes, and decided directly and decisively. Ding. Successfully upgrade. Successfully increase the swallow full level. Ding. Unlock the ability to swallow devil fruit. Unlock successfully. Points consumed. 60,000. Remaining points. 114,390. Damn. Qin Luo's heart was bleeding as he watched the greatly reduced points. Advertisement. But in order to be able to completely kill 5 elders, what kind of points is this point? Now there are 114,390 points left, which can completely obliterate one of 5 elders. For a moment of thought, Qin Luo couldn't help but sneered at the corner of his mouth. Finally, he found a way to kill 5 elders. So, who should I get the operation first? As Qin Luo was thinking, A golden light flashed before his eyes, and then a mini 9-color demon fox appeared beside Qin Luo. Boss. Ninetails stretched its tail, jumped onto Qin Luo's leg, and exclaimed. Ninetails, how is it? Have you found devil fruit? Qin Luo calmly looked at the mini 9 tails in front of him and said. Found it, boss, but I can't compare to the perverted Itachi. He has already snatched 20 devil fruits, and I just snatched these. As he said, 9tails spread its claws, and one after another devil fruit rolled out. Seeing the 5 devil fruits on the ground, Qin Luo nodded. That's right, compared to Hidan's funny comparison, you are much better than him. Hidan has been out for so long and hasn't come back once. I must have found none of them. Qin Luo smiled and comforted 9tails. If Hidan knew that his master teased him so much, he would surely spit out old blood. FCK. Who said that none of them were found? I will grab one too, okay. It's just that I've been busy with PK recently and got killed. Qin Luo doesn't have Hidan's coordinates, and he doesn't know how Hidan is now, but when I think about Hidan's perverted immortality ability, this is comparable to 5 elders. Advertisement. So I didn't care too much. I accept devil fruit. 9tails, do something with me, it's absolutely cool. Qin Luo waved his big sleeve and put devil fruit in his bag directly. FCK, I lost too much blood just now. It is not bad to make up for a little loss. Dash. At the same time, world government, 5 elders, 2 of its 990s were dispatched. One was a bald old man who was the old man with a sword in a loose robe, and the other was a slender man with a beige beard and hair. It is very eye-catching, and it is also one of the 5 elders. At this moment, 20 warships are lined up neatly, sailing on the Sea of New World, and received a secret mission. The martial gang Bone Kong goes with Garp, Sengoku and others, and there are 2 Deadpool secretly following. This terrifying force is enough to turn the New World upside down, even if it is stronger than the future One Piece, Roger, will be eclipsed and shunned. This is the most elite force of naval headquarters. The warship is equipped with countless powerful horror and extremely lethal artillery. Within a kilometer, there will be no grass. At this moment, 2 of the 5 elders are standing on the main battleship, looking towards the boundless sea. What's the matter? The old man with beige hair looked at the sea, and looked at the old man with a sword indifferently. The old man with a sword frowned when he heard the words, and the long sword in his hand directly split the sea kings out of the water into 2 parts. I don't know. I always feel restless. The old man with the sword slowly retracted the long sword with a slash, and looked solemnly at the sea kings who had been slashed to death. Is it too nervous? Our fighting strength. Even Roger is afraid. Above the sea, who else is our opponent? Chapter 174. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Pouch. Soon, the waves splashed, Sea Kings suddenly turned into 2 parts of alive, blood burst out, the huge Sea Kings was slashed to death with a single sword, the calm sea was upset in chaos, and the surrounding ocean currents became violent. Not long after, 2 jets of water rose into the sky, and Sea Kings lay down in the sea, staining this section of water red. After a second, Sea Kings, the old man with a sword had his dignified eyes, and the warship passed between the 2 sections of Sea King's body, and when he saw the neat and clean cuts on it, countless marines were shocked. It's so strong sword. It splits Sea Kings with 1 blow. Master 5 Elders is really amazing. The 2 old men standing on the deck of the warship did not hear Marine's voice. Are you thinking too much? When the beige-haired old man saw the warship interspersed unscathed, the topic turned around again. Thinking too much. Maybe. Or maybe not. Just above New World, 20 warships were slowly driving towards their destination. Suddenly, at a position of 100 meters ahead, there was a sudden fluctuation in space, and then suddenly a hole similar to a black hole was opened in space, and then, a hole was opened. Gradually, Qin Luo and 9tails came out from inside. Master, I didn't expect you to be able to use Uchiha Obito's Kamui. As soon as he came out, 9tails Demon Fox looked forward to admiration and couldn't help but worship. Well, don't talk nonsense, Nine Tails, the naval headquarters warship is right ahead. Qin Luo spoke calmly. At this moment, Qin Luo is wearing a mask, wearing a red cloud and black robe, and is using the identity of Luyun. Advertisement. Nine Tails, don't make them too comfortable, let them try a few tail beast cannons. Yes. Upon hearing the command, Nine Tails suddenly looked awkward, and then, his body swelled into the wind, and the evil scarlet chakra quickly emerged from its huge body, and immediately stained the surrounding air with a hazy color. Seeing this, Qin Luo moved slightly, and flew directly into the sky, stepping on the huge head of the Nine Tails demon fox. The overlord of the sea is at full level, Sea King. Boom. Suddenly, the entire sea couldn't help but shook, and then tons of sea water swept up in a domineering manner. In an instant, countless huge sea kings in the depths of the sea seemed to have been summoned, and at the same time they rushed towards the sky, far away. From a distance, there are no fewer than a few thousand. Too much, too much. Go back some. Feeling the crazy excitement of sea kings, Qin Luo couldn't help but feel ashamed. Damn, he just wanted to summon dozens of sea kings to block naval headquarters warships. That's it, I didn't expect to use it a little bit, and it would have such a big impact. Oh, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ooh. Those sea kings seemed to feel Qin Luo's voice. After the death, only 200 of the thousands of sea kings surged up crazily. The rest stopped in place obediently, screaming pitifully. However, at this time Qin Luo did not have time to listen to the sorrows of those sea kings. What happened? Suddenly, the stable naval headquarters warship that was originally traveling shook frantically, and a large amount of seawater rushed up and directly hit the side of the ship. Between the roars, tons of sea water flew into the sky and fell fiercely. Falling down, immediately, countless marines were knocked to the ground by this huge amount of amazing sea water. Advertisement. Even some marines were caught off guard, and a wave was swept into the sea and disappeared. The weather in the clear sky suddenly disappeared, thick dark clouds rolled from the horizon, the sky was black and oppressive, and the thunderclouds were like billions of black water surging, and the entire sky was suppressed. Damn it! What's the matter? The old man with beige hair wrinkled his eyes and looked down. Weird. All alert. The old man with the sword warned to the rear, the long sword in his hand was suddenly pulled out, and the cold light shot out from the sword, and the old man with the sword turned over and directly cleaved a sword gas. The sword aura roared. Like a startling dragon, the vast and ferocious slashing waves swept out very domineeringly, and immediately cut off the seawater rushing from the front, and then, countless seawater all exploded, and huge waves fell quickly. A sword fell, and suddenly, another huge sea king jumped out of the water, and the water that had fallen was raised several times again. The waves splashed, the seawater swept, and water jets rose into the sky. The scene was extremely shocking, and the huge sea kings in front of him, just a mouth, was enough to swallow the entire warship. In front of this sea kings, human beings are like ants, very small. Roar. The huge sea kings let out a roar, and shot at the old man with a sword on the warship. The calm sea surface was extremely depressed at this moment. The huge sea kings twisted their huge body, showing amazing speed and hideous giant. The fangs on his mouth flashed with cold light, swallowing toward the entire warship. Asshole. The old man with the sword clenched his iron fist, shouting word by word, and then, the long sword swiped quickly in the air, and a tornado of sword energy took shape. 3600 Ways Shinigami Tornado. The old man with the sword had sharp eyes, and the long sword in his hand brought the afterimages of the isle. Suddenly, a Shinigami tornado of white substance directly condensed into shape, whizzing towards the sea kings. Roar. Sea King stretched his neck forward, his mouth screamed, shook the eardrums of countless marines, and then, this Sea Kings directly collided against the Shinigami tornado. Advertisement. Boom. The two converge, the huge and amazing water waves are directly turned into dust in the Shinigami tornado, and they are cut into countless tiny particles, and Sea Kings also widened their eyes in fear, and the whole body turned into Dao. The shards, like glass rotten, fell down and went away. Kill with one sword. Huh. Dare to bump into my Shinigami tornado without seeing what you are. The old man with the sword snorted contemptuously, and then took the long sword back. Stay steady and move on. The old man with the sword commanded. At this moment, countless warships shook violently, and the entire ship seemed to roll over. Boom. Boom. What's going on? Big. The big thing is not good. There are countless sea kings under the sea, and the road ahead of us is completely blocked, and we can't drive it. What are you kidding? Gang Gukong glared coldly, glared at the soldier, and then looked forward. I saw the sea in front of him. At this moment, hundreds of huge sea kings had emerged. Each of them had fierce gazes, staring at them fiercely, full of hostility. Even the bottom of the warship was surrounded by sea kings, and for a while, it was difficult for the ship to move forward. Damn it! Where did sea kings come from? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 175. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The underside of the warship was surrounded by dozens of huge sea kings. In front of their bodies, the warship looked extremely small, and it was impossible to get in. My lord, could it be that you killed the leader of sea kings just now? That's why so many sea kings will attack. Gang Gukong frowned and walked to the old man with the sword, guessing. It's certainly not that simple. All guard, I have a bad hunch. Yes. Gang Bone nodded, then turned around, and issued an order to all marines on the warship. Everyone is ready to fight, don't panic. Roar. At this moment, the air suddenly shrank from a few hundred meters in front, and then, a huge silver-tail beast cannon appeared from the front of the Nine-Tails demon fox. The terrifying power was like a small sun. The devastating sweep came, and there were waves of heart-palpitating waves on the sea. Tens of thousands of tons of seawater have been affected, a deep gully, directly protruding from the sea. As the tail cannon advances, the gully is getting longer and longer. Looking from a distance, it looks like the sea is covered. Divide into two parts. Then, what is that? Asshole. It is blasting towards our battleship. Run away. What a terrifying power. Advertisement. In Marine, the characters above the general level clearly perceive 377 the momentum that can be described as ruining the world. The momentum is huge, like a disaster. The old man with a sword and the old man with beige hair had solemn expressions and a gloomy face, without saying a word. I come. Suddenly, the old man with the sword took a step forward, and the long sword in his hand was flying to the extreme. Even the admiral-level marine just saw the old man with the sword's arm shaking rapidly, and he couldn't see the shadow of the sword at all. 1,000 layers cut. The old man with the sword suddenly drank, and then, the vast sword energy accumulated in front of Hungary. The empty blade slashed a very large arc, and the crescent-shaped sword energy directly hit the oncoming tail beast cannon. A super large sword aura, like a powerful blow, shattered the sea in front of it into powder, and even the dozens of sea kings below were torn apart by violence and penetrated unstoppably. One after another huge sea kings. Continuously rushing forward, looking from a distance, this huge sword aura exudes a nearly substantial blue glow. On the vast sea, the entire blue glow of the sword extends hundreds of meters in length, and it is slashed. The sea water instantly turned into two segments, and none of those huge sea kings were spared. All under this terrifying prestige, they were crushed by the terrifying sword aura. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Boom boom boom. The huge blue phantom sword chi, the moment it hit the tail beast cannon, the air quivered, and the time in the sky seemed to be stagnant. The tail beast cannon and the sword chi collided with each other, and the swelling sparks continued to emerge. Suddenly, the tail beast cannon exploded and was broken open by a several hundred-meter-long slash. Then, layers of sword aura, with hundreds of layers, rushed down in anger. The tail beast artillery exploded, and the huge shock wave quickly spread to the four directions. The entire sea surface was under the huge impact, and the berth pressure was lowered by tens of meters. A concave shape appeared, the fire blazed into the sky, and the huge black cloud rose. He started to render the surrounding sky scarlet. The shock wave of the explosion directly dissipated the sword energy of the old man with the sword, and the afterwaves swept out directly and impacted on the 20 warships. Suddenly, hundreds of pirates sprayed blood from their mouths and fell all together. Some people covered their ears and knelt on the ground shivering. Advertisement. The huge might of the world is moving around the world, making countless powerful people look at him. 9 tails. Blocked. Huh. This old man is a bit capable, and his strength is about the same as that of Whitebeard. I didn't use much strength last time. Why was I blocked this time when I used 50% of my power? 9 tails. Whitebeard didn't really open up with you last time. He left a lot of energy. So, let's vent as much as you like today. Hey. Great. Hearing that, the corner of the 9 tails demon fox's mouth raised a wicked smile, and the huge tail beast cannons condensed and formed in front of Hungary, and this time there were not only 1, but 7. 7 stars with beads, tail beasts with cannons. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, the 7 tail beast cannons, like 7 bullets, rushed forward frantically, surging with intense energy, passing directly through the sky, penetrating the huge black cloud, and being exposed in front of 20 battleships. What? On the magnificent sea, the old man with beige hair was squinted by the wind, and he noticed that there was an even more terrifying energy pressure in front of him. The old man with the sword looked cold, and his body trembled slightly. Asshole. Garp. Sengoku. Block me. Advertisement. Gengu Kong glanced at the terrifying tail beast with cannons in front, and suddenly became flustered and directly greeted the elites of naval headquarters to join him. Garp looked solemn and didn't know where he was from. He directly raised an oversized cannonball that was nearly twice as large as himself. The thick black cannonball gave people an unusually dignified feeling. At the moment of lifting, the entire warship shook. There was noise, and even the deck under Garp's feet had been trampled to pieces. Fist bones. Super big iron ball. Garp gritted his teeth and flicked his right arm, and the entire oversized iron ball flew out wildly. The dignified iron ball was in the air. Instead of slowing down, but with a strong momentum, it hit the tail beast cannon. Sengoku also transformed into the Zone Phantom Beast, in the form of a giant Buddha. Now his whole life is raised several times, like a god and Buddha, with the light of Buddha behind him, which is extremely terrifying. Shockwave. The huge palm pushed out, and immediately from the palm of the palm, a circle of ripples quickly came out, rolling towards the front. Meteor Volcano. Sakazuki also used the Logia Devil Fruit ability, and his hands turned into hot lava. The red and hot lava shot out from his arms and fell to the deck, instantly burning through a large hole. Afterwards, one after another huge giant magma fists rushed directly to the sky, and the entire sky suddenly turned into a sea of lava. Several lava fists collided together, and countless fragments exploded like brilliant fireworks. Bakichong Guyu. Pelusolino also jumped up slightly, his figure flashed, and he leapt into the void, his whole body turned into photons, countless rays of light like silver needles, shooting frantically towards the tail beast cannon. Chin Luo stood on the body of the 9 tails demon fox, closed his eyes and felt the fluctuations in front of him, and couldn't help but be amazed. What a big battle. 9 tails. Those guys actually joined forces to deal with your tail beast with cannon. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtlnovel for free. Advertisement.